Hi everyone. Good morning. Good
Hello.
morning. Hello everyone. Just good morning everyone. Hi. So I saw some of you guys are here already. Hi Evelyn. Hi. Good morning. Hi Glenn. Hi. Good morning. Hi Alex. Hi. Good morning. Hi Styler. Good morning. Hi Joe. Good morning. Andy. Welcome back, Andy. Every Friday we see you here. Hi Michael. Good morning. All right. So hi Manesh. Yes. Happy Halloween. All right. Market is a bit spooked. Yesterday night also. I think it's Halloween. So it's a bit spooked. No problem. Okay. So I think you can hear us loud and clear this morning. So hi Chiseng, good morning. Hi Eric, good morning. Okay, so you may realize that in the picture got 3 people, but actually on the side here there's only 2 people. So Joey is having a little bit of a technical issue, so he will join us later on if possible, but otherwise let's kick off today's AMAS. Okay, so today is the Ask Me Any Stocks US live session. All right, so just stay with us all the way throughout to the end, and we will, of course, as per usual, review our bonus stocks that me, Z, and Joey all like, and we have it on our watch list as well. But okay, so just a little bit about ourselves if you did not know. So of course Joey is not here, but if you do not know Joey is the top tier, one of our top tier remisers and trainers in Philips Securities. He has been in this industry for over 15 years already, covering his specialties in stocks and technical analysis. All right, winning multiple awards. I think this morning I saw he won a couple more awards as well. All right, so then a little bit about myself. Okay, I am Bervin. If we haven't met, nice to meet you guys. And we also have Z here today with us. All right, okay, so for myself, I'm a chartered financial analyst, charter holder. All right, so in short, what it means is I like to just look at the market as in a macro view. All right, and then how it actually directly links to individual companies. All right, so I really enjoy the past month or so. Why? Is because so many company earnings came out, so exciting. I mean, I like to see how companies perform and how it's projected to be performing in the next, quarter or so, or even the next financial year. All right, so let me just pass the time to Z to give a short introduction about herself before I pick it up from there. Z.
All right, thanks, Bervin. Hi, everyone. Nice to see a lot of familiar names here again today. But for those who are new, like what Bervin mentioned, maybe you're just scrolling, right? Yeah, we are part of Joey's team. All right, and then today, what we will be doing is that we will actually go through, like, the stocks that's requested by you guys, right? But before that, I think Bervin will actually give you guys a market update as well first, about the US market and also his views on what is actually happening, right, very recently. And then subsequently, we will actually go through the stocks that's requested by you guys using Joey's 1GT Pro indicator, whereby with the indicator, with just a click of a button, right, you can actually have a very, very quick opinion on the stock itself, whether you see a bullish signal or bearish signals, and that is will be able to help you to actually form a very quick opinion on the stocks, right? And on top of that, because sometimes, when we look at indicators, when we look at charts, we don't want things to be like overly complicated, whereby there's so many indicators going on, you don't really know what to focus on, and that is where you probably would get analysis paralysis. So this 1GT Pro indicator will actually help you to minimize all of that, right? Because everything is in just one indicator, the moving averages, the signals, and that is where you can actually help you to make a quicker decision as well. Okay, so yeah, without further ado, I think I'll pass the time back over to Bervin to actually kickstart today's session with the market update.
All right, okay, thanks Z. All right, so just before we start the market update, just a little disclaimer here, a standard disclaimer. All right, so whatever we are doing here is for educational purposes only. We are not here to tell you to buy, to sell, not to buy, not to sell. All right, so always do your own due diligence, and do it based on your own risk appetite. All right, okay, so let's kick off today with the market update. All right, so I think today we have quite a few people joining us already. So is it okay if I just start off with the S&P 500? Start off with the S&P 500. Is that okay? Just type M in the chat for market. Well, I changed my screen.
Okay, I think I see a lot of people actually typing M. Give us some time, right? Because today we are having a bit of technical issues, but no worries. We will still get the show running and everything will still be normal, right? We will still go through as many stocks as possible by you guys. Okay,
All
I think
right.
Bobby
Okay,
is
so I guess you have my screen there already. Okay, so as you can see, the layout is a little bit different today. Layout is a bit different because we received some feedback that some of you guys are not able to see the dates below. So we made a little bit of adjustments to the layout. But of course, if throughout this AMAS, if you have any feedback, if you want it to go back to be bigger so you can see, because some of you guys are using the computer, some of you guys are using your phone, some of you guys are using the tablet. So, sometimes the numbers can be a little bit smaller lah. So we try to feed everybody. But if you just have any feedback or you need anything to be changed to feel, we will try our best to do it, all right, for everybody's better viewing experience. Okay, so right here we have the S&P 500, the S&P 500, the index weighted by market cap. All right, so we actually see that the S&P 500 have finally broken above this key level that I think many of those analysts have already projected, this 6,800. Many of the year-end targets, the S&P 500 year-end targets have been achieved. 6,800, I mean, in 2025, that's what they wanted to project out. And we have actually, as of earlier this week, finally broke above this 6,800. So we are at an all-time high. All right. I mean, as of yesterday, close, yes, a bit lower, but this week has been an all-time high week. And we have fresh 1 GT bullish signals. All right. Fresh 1 GT bullish signal right here on the 4th of October, right? 24th of October, we will just trailing under that 6,800. And with that 1 GT bullish signal on Monday, we clearly opened above that 6,800 level. So that 6,800 level is right now that key support that I think many people are actually looking at, many investors, many banks, many institutions are looking at to actually hold as prices, if prices can continue to push higher. All right, so that longer term moving average, saw a little bit of a waviness in April, during that sell down, that Trump tariff sell down, but have pretty much already recovered, seeing that red line, that 100 days moving average cross above that blue line. All right, right there in August, all right, that crossover, that bullish crossover for that longer term had actually occurred. And the most recently, if we look at, just zoom in a little bit, looking at that 20 days moving average, it has indeed point higher. All right, so I think a couple of major news came in this week. I mean, Donald Trump has met with Chairman Xi in Korea. All right, the Fed has come down with a 25 basis point interest rate cut, but has given a little bit of a hawkish comment, saying that the cut in December is not certain yet. All right, there's nothing penned down in the books. It's still up for discussion. Many of the Fed members are seeing different views at the same time. All right, so market, of course, is taking that with a little bit of a caution as well. All right, seeing market pull back a little bit towards that 6,800 level. All right, so with this 1 GT Pro indicator, we are able to turn on what we call a trailing support and resistance. So obviously, when the prices are heading up, we want to look at the support, that trailing support. So right now, that trailing support is trailing under the index price of 6,636. All right. Oh, voice a little bit soft. Okay, let me just adjust it a little. Maybe on your side, you can just help me to increase that volume a little bit. I have adjusted my mic a little bit as well. Okay, so here we go. So the S&P 500 just holding above that 6,800 level as of yesterday's close. All right, so I think if prices are able to rebound, or buyers are able to rebound, I think as of this morning, futures are showing a little bit of a rebound, a little bit of strength as well. We can project the next level, not just towards that psychological 7,000 level, but in fact, I think can go as high as the 7,100 level for the S&P 500, for the S&P 500. So I think the longer term target, I think, is definitely still 7,100. But I think towards the end of the year, you may see a little bit of a more sideways movement market, toning down a little bit, unless the Feds come in with more information about the next rate cut in December. All right, so that is for the S&P 500. I think a couple of key levels you want to watch out for. As long as we are able to hold above that 6,800 level, I think the short-term momentum can continue for the US market. Okay, so I think next up, I think maybe I will also cover the tech index, which is the Nasdaq100 index. I think the Nasdaq100 index seen a little bit of a strength as well, very similar to the S&P 500 right there. And let me just turn off everything so we can clearly see what's going on. All right, so very clearly that 25,200 level that I have drawn has been breached. Let me just change that to a green color as well. So as of last Friday, all right, similar to the S&P 500, we received a new 1GT bullish signal. So I mean, if you have the 1GT Pro indicator on your TradingView platform as well, you can set up some alerts to get yourself alerted towards a new 1GT bullish signal as well, and then you can actually see where the market is heading. So right now, I think the longer term moving average, nothing much to say there. It's very similar to the S&P 500, seeing a bullish crossover in August, and right now it is still definitely pointing up. All right, that 20 days moving average trading very close to that 25,200 level. I mean, that is another level or another factor to actually take into account, of which that support is a pretty key support that I think many will be looking at as well. And previously, prices have tested this level quite a few times. You can see right there that I've drawn in green, tested this level quite a few times as well before finally breaking above. So I think this is a level where a consolidation could happen as well. We achieved an all-time high. I think the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100 achieved an all-time high this week as well, just 2 days ago. And yesterday he had pulled back slightly. So I made a couple of those major tech names, Magnificent Seven names, have released their earnings this week as well. I think a couple of them not too good, a couple of them quite good. Some of them forecast or management guidance is not too bad, all right? But I think some of them have been hit a little bit. You may see, I think one of the big names is Meta as well, taking quite a hit, but it looks like there could potentially be an opportunity as well. So I think the Nasdaq 100 is very clearly reflecting that market pulling back quite a little bit, but still pretty much holding above a key support level. So if we'll just do like a simple projection right here, all right, that 24,000 level to 25,200 level, you can see that it actually prices had already tested a resistance earlier this week. I think on Wednesday, I already tested a resistance very swiftly. So I think as of now, I do not expect prices or the index to continue to push above this 26,300 level, 26,400 level just as of yet. We'd like to see a little bit of a consolidation coming in. A little bit of consolidation coming in would be a good sign that actually the market is consolidating. There is a little bit of a healthier trend forming as well, maybe for at least 1 to 2 weeks before we actually push higher with the next target, I would say, because it's an all-time high. Let's draw it towards that 27,000 psychological level first. All right, 27,000 psychological level, I think, is a key level to actually watch out. A little bit of consolidation coming in, and then a breakout towards that 27,000 level may see another 1GT bullish signal coming right in. So I think momentum is still present in the market. Yes, a little bit of pullback here and there, completely normal as well, as long those key levels are holding. All right, so that is for the Nasdaq 100. All right, so that is generally how the market is performing, or what we are seeing the market performing as well. So I think right now, let's move on to actually talk about the stocks that you guys want. All right, so you can just type in the US stocks. So today we are actually talking about the US market. So next week we'll be talking about the Singapore market. So it's just a back and forth. Every week we'll just rotate between the Singapore and the US market. But just to help me and Z out for a little bit here. All right, so if you are typing the stocks in the chat, all right, could you also help us to also give a little bit of a context? All right, so don't just type, say, for example, like Microsoft. All right, what do you want to know about Microsoft? You have what price have you bought at? You know, even better, if you let us know like how long have you held it? You know, what is your plan and so forth. So we can actually give you like a better opinion of what we think about that stock as well. All right, so I see a couple of stocks in the chat already. All right, a couple of stocks in the chat already. So maybe I will just pick the first one to go. Then after that, I'll pass the time to Z. Then after the Z will pass it back to me. Let's go back and forth. Maybe we'll try to go for about 15 to 18 stocks or so before we review our bonus stocks that we like. All right, Z. So I will just begin today. Okay, so I think Tiger. Hi, Tiger. Good morning to you. So what is the good entry price for REGN? Oh, okay, but it's a bit a while since I heard this name, pharmaceutical company. Oh, wow, it has recently run up quite a little bit, right? It's recently run up quite a little bit. Right, so on the screen right here, we have REGN, Regeneron Pharmaceuticals. All right, so we actually see that in the longer term, we actually see prices have actually fallen quite a little bit, right? If you ask me right here in December of last year, would I like to actually buy? I would say no lah. No, I think it's actually just fallen and fallen and fallen. And it found a little bit of a consolidation range, right? A little bit of a consolidation range as prices fell below that $600 support at that point of time. All right, so throughout the second half of this year, it had been pretty much been consolidating between $100 range, that $500 to that $600 range. As you can see, that 200 days moving average still trading above that 100 days moving average. All right, Tiger. So I think as of now, yes, I think we actually see quite a little bit of a push up. I think due to earnings, haven't been following this counter, but it seems like based on just a quick glance here, it looks like they have pretty much beat their earnings, and forecast should be rather good as well. So that is why usually we see prices push higher. All right. Okay, so I think that 20 days moving average. All right, let's look at that 20 days moving average in the nearer term. Zoom in a little bit. That 20 days moving average in the nearer term definitely already pointing up. All right, pointing up already, just trading under that $600 new support level, but that 200 days moving average still currently showing that it is not as weak. I would say definitely not as weak. It has stabilized quite a little bit compared to what we see back in December of 2024. It has stabilized quite a little bit. It's less steep now. It's a little bit more flat. Great. This is what we like to see as well for a potential reversal. So I think if prices can continue to hold, you may see it continue to flatten out and eventually point up. But that doesn't mean that prices are going to rally hard, rally fast, right? It just means that prices over a certain period of time have started to see, an increase. So what we would actually like to see would be, all right, Tiger, we would like to see first that 200 days moving average flattening out, pointing up, and eventually that red line, that 100 days moving average crossing above that 200 days moving average, right? That is what we call a bullish crossover. I mean, that is a sign that also many buyers are coming, or many buyers are interested in the counters. But I think for sure, firstly, we look at the 20 days moving average, that nearer term momentum is definitely present, as that 20 days moving average is already pointing up. And very clearly, we also see right here that 1GT bullish signal have actually appeared on the day where prices have in fact broken that $600 psychological level. That's a very good sign that prices are in the next phase. The next phase of what? I would say a next phase of initial recovery first. All right. It doesn't mean prices cannot fall below that 600 level, because as history have shown, it can fall below that 600 level. And we are, in fact, coming very, very close to a nearer term resistance at around that 660 level. Look at that right here at the point of December to March. Prices have just consolidated and tested that level before it actually broken down with 21 GT bearish signal actually coming in at that point of time as well. So I think this is pretty much a very key resistance as of yesterday and the day before. We can see it has tested, but sellers have indeed came in for REGN to actually take some profits as well. So I think in the near term, we do not want to buy close to a resistance, that's for sure, because that's the point where you buy and then you start to realize, hey, prices start to come down. Every time you buy, the prices start to coming down. It's because you could be potentially buying very close to a resistance. All right, so Tiger, I think what's a good entry price? I would say if we can continue to see that longer term moving average perform as what we wanted it to, and that 20 days moving average, I think continue to point up, I think you could position yourself. You could position yourself for a breakout trade. I mean, definitely, if you say you like to buy at 600, closer to 600 level when prices broke above on Tuesday, yes, definitely you will like. But if we cannot rewind time, and I'm not able to tell you if prices are going to be heading down to that 600 level for you to buy. In fact, if prices head back down to that 600 level, alongside that longer term moving average, actually I do not want to buy. I would much rather position myself to buy above a breakout. So I think setting an alert above that 660 level, maybe 665, given the price of this counter, 665, 666. If prices break and hold above that 660 level, forming a new support, I think that is where could potentially position yourself to ride that upside towards that 720 to 730 resistance zone, right? 730 resistance zone. I think that is potentially where the next upside could be if prices or that nearer term momentum remains intact. All right, so last thing, I would just like to turn on that trailing support. I'm just turning on that trailing support. As you can see that the prices, what this trailing support does is it follows the prices. It follows the prices dynamically. What does it mean? It means that as the prices move, it follows the prices to move up. Trailing support. Support, we are focused on the support when prices move higher. All right, so a little bit of volatility can be expected for each counter. That is why there is some space. There is some space between that trailing support and the prices as well. So if we give the stock room to breathe and it breaks the trailing support, then definitely not as good already. All right, so as long as prices can hold above that trailing support, that's a good sign. You want to be able to use that trailing support as a stop loss level as well. So it's a dynamic stop loss level. Prices move higher, your stop loss move higher. In that sense, no matter what, you will be getting out, or as prices move higher, you will be getting out with less and less losses if it continues to move up, and eventually you will be getting out with profits no matter how the stock moves. All right, so I think that's how the trailing support can come into play for you as well, Tiger. So just a few levels to watch out for. A breakout above 660, upside towards 720 to 730, and if prices break below 600, trailing closer to that trailing support, you want to be a little bit more cautious as well. All right, so that is for REGN. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more idea on what to do next, right, Tiger? So now I'll pass the time to Z to actually cover the next requested stock by you guys.
All right, thanks, Bervin. I think that stock, I think we actually looked at that stock quite some time back, right? But then I think this is the first time that, somebody mentioned it and we're starting to look at it again. But yeah, interesting. Okay, I think the next stock that I'll be covering will be by Kunaf, right? Kunaf, thanks for giving us some context, right? Because you mentioned that you actually bought Microsoft at 420. Any further upside or sell it now? Okay, so let's take a look at Microsoft, right? So Microsoft always, not just for Microsoft, for any stock, right? For any stock, first thing that we always want to look for definitely would be the trend, right? So this time around, I did not turn on the signals yet. We just focus step by step, right? We focus on the trend first. And we look at the trend. The green line, red line, and blue line. How are they looking like? Are they looking okay? Definitely, I think the longer term, right? Red and the blue, 100 days and 200 days MA, they are still looking great, right? They are still pointing up. At least it's not pointing down. 20 days moving average, what we are seeing is that, there was a period of time somewhere in August, right? It started to flatten out, then point down, go sideways. But now it started to gain some strength again in the 20 days moving average, right? It started to point back up, aligning with the longer term trend. So short term, long term trend, not too bad, right? Still aligning based on the moving average. And the next thing we see is, as of yesterday, we saw that price actually closed at 525.76. And also because, the past few days, it has been pretty gappy, right, for Microsoft, as you guys all can see, get up, get down, and things like that. And this is also partly due to volatility from the earnings seasons, like as you can see over here, they just released the earnings not too long ago, right? And as of yesterday, you can see right over here, right, just a very quick update by TradingView as well, right? They also have this function, but you can see like what actually resulted in the drop, right? This is one of the potential reason as well, because people are actually concerned about the rising AI spending, right? And also what I actually researched is that Microsoft, right, actually reported a record capital expenditure of nearly 35 billion for the fiscal first quarter, and they actually warned that this spending, right, will actually rise this year. So because of this rising spending, right, it could actually hurt the bottom line as well because of the increased expenditure, right? So that could be also one of the reasons as to why we actually see, price drop, right, and price actually get down, right? But the thing is that for Joey and our team, we always focus on, being that the market will actually absorb all the news out there, right? Because different people will actually, read the news at different time, absorb the news at different time, and whatever the chart is reflecting will be reflecting what the market has already absorbed. All right, so we will take a look at some of the technicals in terms of where are the support and where are the resistance level that perhaps Kunaf you can actually take note of, and to see whether if there are any further upside, right? Because definitely what we know is that if prices break a resistance level, what does it mean? It means that there is more buying pressure returning. And when that actually happens, is it a good thing? Definitely, right? So we want to actually be on the right side of the trend, right? So far the trend that we have been looking at, still pretty good, right? Still pretty good. It's just that, over the past few days, there's been more volatility and we are seeing more gaps actually happening. So right now, based on this, right, as you guys can see over here, previously we have already drawn a support level at 480, right? This is one of the psychological support level. It was a resistance level and then it broke above it somewhere in June, right? Turning this to become a support. And subsequently, over here, you can see that I've actually drew another level here, $500 at this level, right? Which is a next psychological support level. Like a support level, if let's say we are seeing a support level being broken, a resistance level being broken consistently, turning it to become a higher support, that is actually a good thing, right? And this $500 level, right, you can see that it actually broke above it here, tested it as a support here, and then after that came back down to retest it as support once again. So this $500 level, right, I would say is one of the immediate psychological level that perhaps Kunaf you can actually take note of, right? Because you mentioned that you bought at 420, definitely, even though price get down yesterday, you are definitely still sitting on profits, right? But now the question is whether should you continue holding to maximize that profits, or perhaps there are some levels that you can actually take note to actually capture some profits first. All right, so as we mentioned, $500 I would say would be the immediate psychological level, right, at this point in time, because it has been tested multiple times, and $500 is a psychological level, right? And in terms of resistance, it's pretty obvious, right, that the resistance will be at this 560, right? This 560 level here. Why? Because previously, back when they were actually releasing earnings in July, right, this was what actually happened. Price gap up near the 560, selling pressure came in. We got a very long bearish candlestick, and then price pushed all the way back down to retest the 500. Buyers came in, support it, and prices rebound. Right, over the past few days, same thing happened again. Prices near the 560, they even touch near it, right? And then we see, long upper shadow, selling pressure is there, right, to push the price back down. So definitely 560, I would say, would be the immediate resistance, right, that we want to take note of. So now that we have established the support level and the resistance level, right, so you will know that, okay, support level is around this 500, resistance level around 560. So overall trend, short term, long term, still look pretty good. And to answer your question, Kunaf, is it okay to actually sell it now, right? I think definitely if let's say you want to actually take some profits, not full, take some. Why some? Because longer term trends definitely still look good. And if you want to take some profit, where can you potentially take some profits? Definitely would be near this level, right? Near the 560 psychological level. So this is where you can potentially set some price alerts, right, for yourself. So as you can see, I already set an alert here, 555, right? Near the 560, you can set multiple, 555, 556, 557, 558, 559, right? So this is a potential, what we call a potential sell zone as well, to take some partial profits, right? But of course, if prices can continue and break and hold above the 560 level, potential upside targets that we are looking at, right, would be towards 600. Why did I draw 600? Maybe some of you might ask, right, or have this question. It's because now price, right, for Microsoft, if I were to pull all the way back, definitely now it is at an all-time high, right? Prices is at all-time high. And usually when prices is at all-time high, right, one of the ways that we can actually do to project a target would be based off using a psychological level, because some of these psychological level are around nice number whereby people tend to usually sell, at those kind of levels, right? So we can actually project our target up to the 600. So provided that price can break and hold above the 560 resistance first, firmly hold above it, then potential upside, we can look towards the $600 level. All right, so with that, let me just turn on the buy and sell signals. Okay, so with that, click of a button, turn it on, right? And right now, what do we see? We see a 1 GT bullish signal, right? Which is when on the 6th of October, right? 6th of October, we got a 1 GT bullish signal. So this 1 GT bullish signal actually gives you another layer of confirmation that, hey, the trend is still not too bad, right? Because at least we don't have a 1 GT bearish signal. The 1 GT bullish signal, definitely it is still playing out, right? But it's just that we want to take note and monitor some of these levels, support and resistance as mentioned, to see whether is there any further upside, provided that if prices can break and hold above the 560 burst. But Kunaf, so I want to reassure you that there is nothing wrong if you do decide to take profits near the resistance level, near this 560, right? Because if you take some partial profits, you will definitely also feel good, right? Because then the balance of it, right, you can continue to ride the uptrend, especially so when now we are seeing that based on the moving averages, the uptrend is actually still intact. Okay, Kunaf, I hope that helps some of the levels that you can take note, and perhaps you can also set price alert, right, around this level, right, if it breaks above and is near the 560 resistance. Okay, hope that gives you something to think about, and that is for Microsoft, right? So right now, passing the time back over to you, Bervin, to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks Z. I think very good big tech there. Let's see. Here we go. Yifang, hi Yifang, good morning. Please comment on Berkshire Hathaway.B. Bought at $480 but has since dropped further. Thinking to accumulate any 1 GT bullish signal. All right, okay, I'll answer your question first. Any 1 GT bullish signal? No, there is a 1 GT bearish signal actually, in fact. All right, so I think right now we want to just monitor a little bit. All right, monitor a little bit. So you bought at 480, which means it could be either very, very recent or it could be back in March. All right, so I will assume that is recent. I will assume it's recent here. You're trying to accumulate on the dips, but unfortunately there was a 1 GT bearish signal that actually came out. All right, so just let me put it right here. All right, so 480, let me just draw a line right there. All right, so that short green line would be actually where you have actually bought. So I'm not too sure if you have the 1 GT Pro indicator or the 1 GT Lite indicator as well. I'm not too sure whether you have it, but usually we do not like to buy on when we see that 1 GT bearish signal actually come in. That usually means that a key support was actually broken, or trailing support was actually broken at the same time. So if we let me just turn it off for a short while, that buy or sell signal, we can see that, how does the 100 days moving average right here, this red line, how does it look? Right? How does it look? Maybe in the chat, you guys can let me know. For Berkshire Hathaway, 100 days moving average, red line pointing up or pointing down? Pointing up or pointing down? Down. Michael says down, down. Yatri says down. Victor down. Eric says down. All right. Okay. Yep. So I think you're all very, very, very zai at this already. It's confirm pointing down. You cannot bluff yourself one. If it's pointing down, it's confirm pointing down. You cannot say it's pointing up one. All right. So now let's see. It is pointing down, and here's one more thing. All right. Just now we talk about a bullish crossover. All right. So this is a bearish crossover. All All right. So bullish, you want to buy. Bearish, you don't want to buy. In fact, you want to take care of your position. So in this sense, usually when we see a bearish crossover, right, the last thing you want to do is to rush in. You want to actually wait. Just wait a little bit. Just wait a little bit where to see if that bearish crossover is actually intact or if there is just a false breakdown and that 100 days moving average crosses above that 200 days moving average as well. So right now, I think that 20 days moving average have also indeed crossed below that 200 days moving average, so not too good already. So Ifang, you currently have a position at about 480, probably sitting on a little bit of losses already, and you're thinking if you should continue to accumulate. I think that is can be quite a dangerous move if it doesn't play out, because if that 200 days moving average also starts to slope down, now it's still pointing up a little bit, but it flattens and then it slopes down, then the longer term uptrend is no longer intact, or that longer term trend have started to show signs of a reversal into a downtrend. So that is something that you do not actually want to see, especially if you're holding on to long positions for the counter. So I think right now you want to be a bit more careful. What is your plan? Do you have a trading plan to actually get out if prices continue to weaken? I do not recommend to buy or DCA, dollar cost average down as prices continue to go down, because ultimately we all have limited bullets. All right. So here's the thing as well. Berkshire Hathaway is also releasing its earnings on Monday. It's releasing its earnings on Monday. So definitely, I don't know what the earnings will look like. I cannot predict. Your guess will be as good as mine, as good as Z's, as good as Joey's. All right. So if earnings and forecast comes out good, great, you may see a recovery. All right. You may see a recovery in your stock prices, your position may be in the green already. All right. When the earnings come out. But if the earnings do not come out strong, and the forecast doesn't come out strong, then you may see it continue to weaken towards where I think back towards that 460 level could be a level you actually want to watch out for. All right. So if you are just doing a little bit of a projection, if prices break below that 460 level, you're looking at least a 4% loss from your entry price. So if that is within your risk appetite, great. I think that is one level that you can actually watch out for to actually get out. And if prices continue to weaken to that level, have a stop loss plan. But if say if prices start to strengthen again, right? Earnings are good, forecast is good, the market generally is in a good so-called good mood and started to push higher again. Great. I think that nearer term resistance could be towards that 490 to about that 495 level. I think that is where you could draw like a support area or support range. All right, there's a buy zone, an entry zone where maybe buyers will come back in as well with the upside target towards that 509 level. So let me just turn on very quickly that trailing support and resistance right here. You can see that the trailing resistance right now is about close to that $500 psychological level. So I think that is also another level to watch out for as well. Set an alert. So not just a price alert, you can also in fact set up a 1GT buy or sell alert, right? Once per bar, same as chart, right? Just to get yourself known that, hey, there's a 1GT bullish signal, and that is where you can come in to monitor again if prices break above that 510 level, 510 level, I think you can continue to accumulate. So I personally feel that accumulating into wins or scaling into your wins is a much better outcome, or a much safer outcome, rather than scaling into your losses. Right? Don't throw good money after bad. Okay, so I think that is for Berkshire Hathaway. Few levels to watch out for. I mean, if you are watching this, you can screenshot the chart if you need the chart as well, if you're using a phone. Okay, so I'll pass the time now to Z to actually cover the next requested stock.
All right, thanks, Bervin. Okay, so let me just change my screen right over here, right? And I think the next stock that I'll be covering will be by Christina, right? Christina is asking about LITE, thinking about buying, but what's a good entry point, right? Maybe before I dive into this, right, I think I saw one question by, where is it? By Vincent, Right, Vincent is asking where can we see the latest updates on TradingView. So I believe it will be the one that this one, right? The latest update here. You can actually see it, but you just need to set it on your settings, right? You just right click somewhere, anywhere on the chart. Just right click, settings, go to events. Here, just make sure to tick the latest news, right? Because if you tick, this bubble will come out, the lightning bubble. Otherwise, it will not be there, then you will not be able to see it, right? Just a very quick settings on your TradingView chart itself. Okay, so very quickly now let's go back to this stock, right? That Christina is actually asking. LITE, thinking about buying, what's a good entry point? So what actually is LITE? Because actually I also don't really know about this stock. I'm just like, this seems quite interesting, right? And the stock actually looks not too bad. So maybe let me just take a quick look as well. What does this company do, right? So this company is called Lumentum Holdings, right? And then it actually provides optical and phonetic products. I see. Okay, so mostly probably it will be like cloud and networking, telecommunications, fiber optics, things like that lah. So I believe this has something to do with telecommunications related, and also like electrical product manufacturing in electrical products. Okay, so without further ado, let's take a look at the trend itself first, right? For this stock, definitely when Christina shared this stock, I'm like, this stock actually looks not too bad. Thanks for actually sharing this, right? Because long term, short term, all these three moving averages, right, are definitely pointing up, right? Definitely pointing up. And on top of that, this one for this particular stock, I already turned on the 1GT bullish signal, right? What can we see? We can see let me see, 1, 2, 3. Three bullish signal, right, is actually still in play. And the first one actually came out somewhere in May, right? And currently it is still in play. There's no bearish signal yet. So trend looks good. We got 3 consecutive 1GT bullish signal. But I think Christina, one thing that maybe you might want to take note, right, is that earnings is actually coming out on Tuesday. So definitely you may see more volatility for this counter as well, because sometimes when it is one day before or during the earnings day, right, then price could actually swing quite a bit, right? So if people who are not comfortable with such price swing, it is okay not to participate in it. But if you do want to think about buying, you just need to make sure that you may expect some like price swings and gaps, like as you can see, like right over here. All right. So for LITE, we saw that as of yesterday, right? Price closed at about $200, right? 200.13. And based on the price action over the past couple of months, we see that trend, right, actually has been intact since like June, right? June 20 days moving average crossed above both longer term one, and it was during somewhere in August, right? We can see that the longer term trend right over here, right, it actually gave us more confirmation, right? Whereby the red actually crossed above the blue, and all three are actually still heading up, right? But somewhere in September, this was where we started to see price got a bit moving sideways, whereby the 20 days moving average, right, has also started to flatten out. But recently, it pointed back up again, aligning with the longer term trend. So definitely trend wise, I would think that it is pretty much still intact, right? But based on this sideways consolidation, right, we can actually figure out and see where is the support and resistance when price was actually trading sideways, right? So right over here, right, we can actually see that the support level when price was trading sideways is about 140, right? And resistance, I would say somewhere around this 180 level, right? Price nearly unable to touch on this day as well. And then eventually here tested it, the next day broke and opened above that level. And so far, over the past 1, 2, 3, 4 days, it is still holding above the 180 level, right? So I would say 180 level previously, when it was a sideways consolidation, definitely is a resistance, right? Testing is a resistance. Now, price is at 200. 180 has turned to what we become called a higher support level, right? So this would be, I would consider a higher immediate support level that perhaps, Christina, you might want to take note of this level, right? Because when we think about buying into a stock, and based on the 1GT framework that Joey has, right, we want to buy where near a support level, right? That is the reason why it is so important for us to actually establish where are the support and the resistance level, right? So right now we know that the support level is somewhere around this 180. So if you're thinking about buying, this could be one of a potential zone that you can potentially be looking at and setting some price alerts near this 180 level. But of course, now price is at 200, is a bit not here, not there, right? And okay, and this 220, right, this level I drawn as a resistance level, right? Because over the past couple of days, you can see that price actually approached or haven't even touched this 220, right? And then that was where selling pressure came in to push price back down. But I don't know whether price will go back all the way to 180 for you to actually accumulate some position, but it will be good for you to actually set some alert there because it is near a support level. And that is where potentially we hope to expect buying pressure coming back in to support the prices, right? Because if it's unable to hold above this 180, potentially what we will see or what we could see is that price coming back to this range, right? And this was the range that price was trading at from all the way from September all the way to October, right? All the way to October. So it's about a one over month period, right? And this, if price unable to hold above 180, we can potentially head back to a sideways consolidation phase again. Right, so definitely I think 180 will be one of the levels that we want to monitor and look out for, right? So the other thing I also want to turn on and show you, right, Christina, would be this trailing support function, right? So click with a button, you can see that this is turned on, right? Turn off and turn on. Okay, so when I actually turn it on, right, this trailing support function, right, basically it trails the prices as it continues to move up. So as you can see over here, right, prices move up, it continue to trail the prices. So it's acting as like a dynamic support, right? And this support, right, this dynamic trailing support level actually accounts for the stock volatility, right? It accounts for the stock volatility. And the thing is that when you account for the stock volatility, right, if it breaks below this trading support, right, then not so good, right? Then not so good. That's where, you know, we will probably get a 1GT bearish signal, and that is where, you know, we want to have more confirmation before thinking about buying. But so far, you can see that price is still holding above the trailing support right over here, right? So that's the reason why I say maybe somewhere around this 180, right? This is where you can potentially set some price alert to think about accumulating if prices were to retrace. But of course, do think about your stop loss plan as well, right? And your stop loss plan could be placed, you know, maybe a 2 to 3% below the trailing support. Why? Because trailing support, like I've mentioned, we actually accounts for the stock volatility. You give the stock room to breathe, and if it still break below the room that you give it to breathe, then not so good. That's where we want to think about getting out. And plus, the fact is that, you know, I already mentioned, Tuesday, we'll have the earnings results coming out, right? So this is where we can expect volatility. So if you do enter here, do remember to also have your stop loss plan in place, just in case there are very wide swings on the earning result day. Okay? So this would be for LITE, LITE. I think definitely this is also one stock that maybe we can potentially add into our team watch list and take a look at this stock as well, because so far it's still looking pretty good. All right. So yeah, with that, back over to you, Berwin, to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks Z. Okay, so next stock. Let's go for another Magnificent 7. Let's go. Okay, so Edwin hopefully still here. Okay, so I bought Amazon around 225. Is it good to buy more? All right, okay, let me just change up the screen. Okay, so I think Amazon, first of all, 225, congratulations. Pre-market, post-market, Amazon released their earnings. Share price jumped to over $250. So you're sitting on a tidy bit of profit, although it's not reflecting on the chart just yet. Looking through Amazon's earnings this morning as well, pretty good, pretty solid. I think they are forecast, but I think the worrying part here is their capex is likely to following the Microsoft narrative is likely to increase over the next few quarters as well. But I think majority of their segments have continued to see double-digit growth. Very respectable because it is a mega cap company. All right, so usually for mega cap company, we usually expect their revenues or their growth to actually stay in the low double digits. Yeah, but in fact, I think for Amazon, it's looking very, very optimistic. So I think market is starting to push Amazon a little bit higher as well. But based on yesterday's close, prices actually saw a little bit of a weakness, but it is generally still in what I call no man's land, in between a support and resistance, right? A level where usually people don't really like to buy as well. But however, we can see that the prices are currently at that 100 days moving average, which is pointing up. But that 200 days moving average still a little bit flat due to its longer term consolidation. I think starting since June of this year, it's pretty much been just going in a range like that, come down, go up, come down, go up a little bit, come down, go up again. All right, so I think we have to see what market is looking like when it opens tonight. Hopefully that post-market optimism and excitement continues to push the prices higher. But if prices are in fact opening above $250, then you are sitting on what we call a gap up. All right, a gap up because definitely there is a gap between the price of 222 to about 250. That is a pretty huge gap, right? So you want to just, if you're looking to get in, I would say great. You want to monitor for the market, today's market first, at least to see if that 240 immediate support. If it opens above 250, then this 240 will become an immediate support level, marking an all-time high in prices as well. Time to consider to scale into your wins. All right, so currently I believe, so yesterday I saw that there was a 1GT bearish signal that is still valid as prices sold down from that 240 level previously in September. All right, so this is at this point or as of yesterday's close, definitely if you're looking to buy, no. But as of tonight's open, I don't know if it will in fact show up as a 1GT bullish signal. So first thing first, have an alert. All right, Edwin, have an alert to alert yourself, a 1GT alert to actually just get yourself known that prices are now actually showing a 1GT bullish signal. So here's the thing. So I understand that not everybody has the 1GT Pro indicator, right? But I think Joey has very, very kindly set up a 1GT LITE indicator as well. So 1GT LITE, what is it? It is basically the 1GT Pro indicator, but without the additional features like the horizontal support, the trailing support, the position sizing table, showing volume change. It will just very simply show you the buy and sell signal and the moving averages. Good enough for you to get a quick opinion. So I think Z has very nicely put the link in the chat for you guys. So if you guys want to just try out the 1GT LITE indicator, I mean, you can do it with that free trial, the 14 days free trial that actually Joey is actually offering. All right, so coming back to this, just set up that 1GT Pro indicator right here, add an alert, condition, change it to a technical alert, select buy or sell signal and just create. So if prices hold above that 250 level, great news for you, and you may receive a 1GT bullish signal as well. And then where could prices potentially be headed to? As this was the range that it was previously consolidating within, so just to shift up this range, let's say a longer term, next phase of consolidation happens, that upside would be towards that $270 level. Let me just change this to red color, where you could potentially see sellers coming in to take profit again. Very, very normal. All right, so what we have is like a sell zone right there, where potentially normal to see selling come back. So however, you bought at 225, if it opens at 250, you may consider to sell also. All right, you may consider take some profits. You'll be sitting on some profits as well, but you'll be sitting in a no man's land. You'll be selling in a no man's land as well. I do not recommend that. I would much rather you then turn on your trailing support and resistance. Look at that at that point of time. If there is a trailing support, where would you can place your stop limit order just below that trailing support, maybe about 3 to 5 or maybe 2 to 3%. All right, 2 to 3% for the US market, I think good enough to actually secure any profits as well. So I think Amazon looking good after its earnings. All right, I think just a few key levels to watch out for. I think hopefully we can see that longer term uptrend continue its reversal as well. All right, okay, so Edwin, hopefully that helps. I'll pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bervin. Okay, I think just now, wow, lucky I think just nice in time, right? Because I think my mouse was having some issues, just managed to change the battery. Okay, okay, so I think the next stock, right, that I'll be covering will be Meta, right? Let me see, let me find the comment. Where's the comment about Meta? Oh, First Last was actually asking, because I saw a few of you guys asking about Meta, right? First Last is also asking about Meta. What's the view on the big drop in Meta, right? So definitely, when we see, you know, price yesterday, I believe some of you who are holding Meta definitely also get a shock, right? Because you see that, wow, the price yesterday dropped really by quite a bit, right? About 11%, right? Especially so when the earnings result actually came out. So now the thing is that when Meta is at about $666, definitely a lot of people will come and ask that, hey, you know, now Meta is so cheap compared to like maybe 1 month back, 2 months back when it was at 700 plus, right? Is it a good time to actually buy into Meta? I think that's definitely a very valid question to have, especially so when Meta is one of the big tech, right? That people definitely want to accumulate on the dips. But the thing about accumulating on the dips, right, is that we don't want to anyhow buy when price just immediately drop, especially when earnings results just come out. The thing is that we want to also make sure to look out for some confirmation and some sort of stabilization first, right, before actually entering into a stock. We don't want to buy into a stock just because, hey, right now it is very cheap compared to 1 month ago, 2 months ago, 3 months ago, right? We want to, the key thing is to look out for confirmation first. So first thing, right, for Meta, as you can see, right, I already turned on the 1GT bullish and bearish signal, right over here, as you guys can see, right over here. And what do we see? We see 1, 2, 3 consecutive 1GT bearish signal, not just one, but 3 consecutive 1GT bearish signal. And what does that tell you? It just tells you that there is more selling pressure returning, and plus the fact that yesterday when Meta actually released their earnings, right, and the price actually dipped by so much, right, based on that fact alone, plus you know that there is 3 consecutive 1GT signal, not that great, right? It's not that great. And on top of that, if I were to zoom in, and we just take a look at the short-term trend first, 20 days moving average, right over here, this green line, right? Do you see that it is actually still pointing out? It's still pointing down, right? And when it's still pointing down, it just shows you and confirms, gives you a confirmation that, you know, the trend is actually not that great, right? Give me a second. Let me see. I think my mouse is actually not in. Let me see. Yeah.
Sure, no worries.
Sorry, I think my mouse is not working, Berlin.
Let me take over for Z. Yeah. So I think Meta. Let me just change my screen right there. All right. Okay. So like what Z had mentioned, yeah, Meta not looking too bright after its earnings. I think on Wednesday as well, not too good. We actually see that prices in fact came down 3-1 GT bearish signal like Z had mentioned. So usually I do not expect people to actually hold on to their positions when they actually are seeing multiple 1 GT bearish signals. It's usually a time to take a step back, check out your trading plan. If your trading plan says it's time to sell if a specific support is broken, I think maybe it's time to do that as well. All right. So I think right now, I think Meta, if it's able to hold above that 660 support level, great. Maybe we'll see a little bit of a sideways movement. All right, which is, I feel, completely normal. All right, because everybody will be wondering, or most buyers in the market will definitely still be wondering, is it time to get in? So let's not rush. All right, first last, I think do not rush to get in, because without a specific trading plan or without the factors in your favor, you may end up getting stuck with even more losses as well. It's okay to buy a little bit more expensive. Why I say that is because if we just turn on that trailing support and resistance, right, if the prices continue to consolidate between the 660 to 700 level, no cost to you at all. No cost. There's no cost. There's no opportunity cost. You can take your money, put it elsewhere, make it work harder for you elsewhere as well. No cost. But if you put your money into Meta right now and it goes down lower towards that psychological $600 level, you will definitely be sitting on losses. So why not think about this. If the prices were to just consolidate between 660 to 700 and then break above, right? Break above that $700 level, right? Break above that $700 level, much better position. Why? That 20 days moving average will then be flattening out and maybe even pointing up. Then I will say, yes, you're in a much better position. Would you have paid more for those shares? Yes, you have been paid more. Are you in a better position? Also will be in a better position, because you shouldn't be in a rush to buy just because the prices fall. Because prices fall for a reason. They don't just fall randomly. This is not a penny stock. This is a Magnificent 7 stock. It's a mega cap, right? So I think take a step back. Let's see how the market reacts to those earnings tonight, maybe even the coming week. Let's see if there's any consolidation. Have an alert being set up at that $700 above that $700 level, maybe the 707, 708 level. And then also a 1GT alert, a 1GT buy or sell alert. And if prices are able to break above that $700, I think that upside towards that $800 resistance can definitely resume. All right, can definitely resume. And if the $800 level is broken, you can see right here, I have previously already drawn that upside target, the longer term target towards that $850 level. All right, so I think that is for Meta. Just watch out for a few key indicators that 200 days moving average, that 100 days moving average, definitely want to see start to point up again, and then prices also breaking above that $700 level. Okay, so I think very good. So now we lost Z, but we actually have Joey.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
thank you
think
so much.
Joey is back. Okay, so maybe I will get him to start off the next talk if he's okay. All right.
Yep,
So but
yep,
before that,
already.
just to catch Joey up on a little bit, so he doesn't cover the same stock that I've covered just now. All right. So
Yep.
just now we have actually covered the S&P 500,
Got it.
Nasdaq 100, REGN, followed by Microsoft, Berkshire Hathaway Class B shares, LITE, LITE, Amazon, and then now we're actually just finishing up on Meta. All right, so when you're ready, Joey, please take it away.
Thank you so much. First of all, apologies, guys. Let me just go to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. What happens was just now, just before I went live, all right, the computer can't just hang, all right, so I can't like switch to a new CPU, it can't just hang, and I'm so sorry that I wasn't able to cover the quick market update, but yeah, thankfully my team managed to just step in and help me to just take away the first part of today, but yeah, finally, right, I changed back to my previous CPU, and hopefully it goes well, right? So thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to our AMAS live show every Friday. Today we're talking about US stocks. I think Bervin and Z have covered about 5-6 counters really. So maybe I'll just pick the next one. And let me just go to share my screen right now for the very next stock. So let me just go prepare. I think we have this person asking on this stock right over here, and that would be on Palantir. All right, Palantir. Let me just go ahead to pull out the comment. Who's asking about Palantir? Eric. I've no trades yet, right? But looking out for Palantir, PLTR, which has closed above the resistance, right? Is it a good time to enter now? Right over here, all right? So this is Palantir on my screen. Let me just go cover the very next stock, Palantir, right? So maybe before I even talk about Palantir, right? What do you guys think about Palantir, all right? Is it more positive or more, okay, maybe more up or more down? Type U for up, D for down. Let me know, guys. Type in chat. What do you guys think about Palantir, right? I mean, maybe I've already given you a bit of heat now, right? We have already turned on the, bullish and bearish signals. Let me turn on again, pump. And there we go, right? Based on this thing you're seeing right now on the screen, is it more up or more down? U for up, D for down, all right? Let's go and help Eric over here to see whether is it more positive or is it maybe more negative. Wow, I want to be careful. Let's see, right? First class, up. Victor, up. Ivan, uptrend as well. Benjamin, up as well. Awesome, right? So, not too bad, All right, seems like a lot of people are saying it's up as well. Very good. So, Eric, wow, that could be something that you want to put in your watch list as well, right? But the question is that why is everybody saying that it is up? Well, essentially, you can see that Palantir, right? The price is about $194. But if you look at it a couple of months back, in fact, since like last year, we have actually we have covered this stock a couple of times in our AMAS Friday session, I think about 2 weeks back as well. It's quite a popular, play, right, in the US market. And you can see that we have been in a longer term uptrend, all right, since last year. Just by looking at the 100 days moving average, the red line, and the blue line, not just last month or last week, last year, it has already turned into a longer term uptrend. So higher highs, higher lows, looking at the longer term moving averages. Obviously, it is still in play. The red is still above the blue right now, and both pointing up. So we definitely want to think about holding on to stocks like this. Even think about buying stocks like this that has already moved up, right? That I know it might be a bit more expensive, right? It might be a bit uncomfortable, all right, to get in, right? So I think, Eric, you're saying that you have no trades yet, right? But you're looking out for Palantir, which has closed above the resistance. Okay, later we settle your second part about the resistance part, but the question is that should we even think about getting in on stocks like this? Well, the answer is yes, all right, because this stock has already proven itself in an uptrend. Obviously, it's still in an uptrend. We want to think about getting in on stocks like this, especially if we have a few other confirmations, all right, from my one good trend strategy. And if you take a look at this right now, apart from the long-term trend is up, you can take a look at the short-term trend that I think Bobby and Z have shared as well. That will be the green 20 days moving average. Now look at the green line, right? I mean, it was like down in February, right? We've got bearish signals coming. I think you want to be careful, lah. All right, if you ask me, then I'll say wait first, all right? But if you ask me from April and May, pump, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish signals. There we go. Long-term trend already up since last year, as I say, right? The green line also started to turn up. And what happens? All the way we went up, right? Until we got a bearish signal. I get out, take some profit. How many profit? 93% enough, not? Right, 93% enough lah. I'll take some first, relax, get out first, put 93% in your pocket first, and then think about getting in again lah. All right, don't rush lah. Be patient, right? When you get in, when you see signs of a new 1GT bullish signal. So did it come out? Yes. In fact, it came out like about in September. All right, more than a month back, when the longer term trend was still up. All right, and also if you look at the short term trend, the green line, when the bearish signal came out, you can see the green line actually started to turn down, right? So we're going to be patient, right? Wait for the short-term trend to also turn up. Did it happen? Yes. Another confirmation came in. We got a 1GT bullish signal. The green line turned up sideways a little bit. But let's see whether the green line is up or down right now. Huh? I would say that the green line is just starting to turn up. Does it make sense? What? All right. So that would be some signs that the short-term trend is beginning to turn from a sideways just about 2 weeks back to maybe potentially starting to turn up. All right. So let's go back to Eric's question, right? No trades yet, but looking out for Palantir, we just closed above the resistance. So let's talk about the resistance now, right? Did it really close above the resistance? What is the resistance first? To see whether it got close above or below it. So let's go to draw this resistance level right over here. Well, I would say indeed, right? 190, if you take a look at it, right? 190 was where we were in August. We touched, we came back down. All right. In fact, since early of October, every time we go near, come back down, come back down, come back down. All right. Every time we go near 190, always come back down. A lot of selling pressure right near the 190. All right. But over the past 2 days, never come back down, right? We managed to go above the 190. I mean, now it's like 194, right? Which is above 190 lah. So that is a positive thing. So very good. Eric, what you say is correct. We indeed managed to close above the 190 resistance level that we have been trading below for the past 2-3 months, right? So that could be another positive confirmation that we are getting out of this kind of like a sideways phase, right? Since August, all right? And if we can stay above this 190, so let me go to change this rate resistance to what we call a new horizontal support line right over here, right? So I think we can stay above the 190, and that would be what we call a new horizontal support. A potential entry could be taken near 190 as well. And if you want a bit more, kind of like another entry zone whereby potential trades could be taken, well, we could also turn on what we call the trailing support level. So one of the very powerful features of the One Good Trend Pro indicator that I have is that we can turn it on and we can kind of like see where this trailing support is. So you can see this trailing support has popped up somewhere in September. Up, flat, it follows Palantir as it moves up. But don't follow too closely. Give it some breathing space, give it some allowance to move, naturally. All right. And as long as you are above it, you are good. So you can see, right, the trailing support is around the 172. So preferably, I mean, if it does dip to near the trailing support, a good potential entry could be taken. It could be near 180, could be near 175, right? But I'm really not too sure whether you will dip there for you to buy, all right? Because right now it seems like 190 is already a new horizontal support level that has been found. Does it make sense? All right. So that could be a good entry as well. If it does dip a little bit to near 180, 175, even better, more attractive entry above what, as I say, right? Nobody will know exactly where it will dip to for you to buy, right? But so far, I think it looks okay. Bullish signals is intact. A trailing support has popped up. Obviously, we are above it, all right, still. And maybe if I can add on, right, I think we might see a bit of a resistance, right, around that $200, because 200 is a psychological resistance level. So, I don't know, right? Seems like over the past 2-3 days, we are touching about 200 and then coming back down. So we might just consolidate from 190 to 200 for a while. But I mean, I would say if we can break the 200, we go to 201 or 202 or 205 or 203, that kind of thing, right? that is where this 1 GT bullish signal can continue to play out. We could potentially see targets being revised. And what we could do is do a little bit of a projection right over here, right, from the 2-3 months consolidation phase. We can do it and project it up from here all the way up, right? So I would say maybe, right, after 200, maybe about 230, 240, that could be the next upside targets, right? If the 200 psychological resistance level would to give way, I think that would be where, right, we could see more leaks to this rally. All right, so that would be for PLTR, the very first stock that I covered today. All right, welcome for those of you who have just joined us, all right, in our US AMAS live session. I hope that, my team have covered some of the stocks. Let me go to pass on the mic maybe to Bervin. All right, to Bervin, then I'll come back again. I'll cover more stock, and make sure you stay all the way to the end, guys, because later at the end, right, I think Bervin has shared as well that we'll each share three US stocks. Sorry, no, each share one, right? So total is 3, right? 3 US stocks that you want to put in your watch list for potentially even more upside. All right, so Bervin, back to you to cover the next US stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Welcome back. I think we have Z also finally full strength. I think Halloween problems, but let's see. Here we go. Okay, maybe I'll just pick the latest one. Okay, Joy. Yesterday, Netflix has announced stock split. Yes, 10-1. Fantastic. Can we still buy in? Is it advisable to buy before split or after? Okay, the short answer, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you buy the stock before or after the split. Okay, why? It is because a stock split is just meant to actually divide the share prices, all right, or divide the market, divide the share outstanding. I mean, so now it's just 10 times more shares. The value of the shares is just divided by 10. So I think whether you should buy before or after, I think you should focus on the trend instead. Focus on the trend instead. What a share split does is it provides a little bit more liquidity to the market as well. So why? Is because right now Netflix is trading about let's say $1,000. Let's say $1,000. Not many people, right? Not many people will want to buy, like, say, 100 shares of Netflix. That will cost you $100,000. But when the stock split is divided by 10, each share is $100 times 100 share, much more palatable. And at the same time, it opens the opportunity for those of you who are trading options as well, that will give you or make the options a little bit more palatable as well, because the options premium would have been lower once the stock split is executed. Yeah, so I think it just provides liquidity, good for the share in general, but hard to say for the prices. It's unpredictable. So, but as of right now, okay, let's look at the trend for Netflix to see even if you should buy the Netflix share. All right, so we actually saw that there is how many here? 1 GT bearish signal. All right, one came out, all right, early signal 1st October came out. Second one actually just came out last week, 22nd of October. So I think that support, that 1150 support. I'm sad because I pretty like Netflix as well, but that support is finally broken. It's broken already. So right now we are currently seeing that immediate support is right around that 1050 level, where previously this was a resistance. All right, sellers actually came in here, push prices back down in March, and then finally in April, late of April, prices broke above this 1050 level. But right now it looks like we are heading back to that level to actually test it. All right, so but let's look at the longer term trend. All right, longer term trend, that 200 days moving average, so it's still looking good. All right, still looking good, it's still pointing up. But at 100 days moving average, this red line right here has started to point down. We haven't seen it cross over the blue line or the 200 days moving average just yet, but it has started to point down. A little bit of weakness can be observed. That 20 days nearer term green line moving average has in fact started to point down and heading very close to that 1150 level, that previous or the immediate now resistance level. So that is not a good sign for the momentum in the nearer term. Prices have been consistently, not being able to see much recovery for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days already. And of yesterday's close, we also see somewhat of a bearish candlestick coming back in. So sellers are still pretty much present. All right, still pretty much present, not really relenting just yet. So what we would like to see right now is if this immediate 1050 support is able to hold. So then you may start to see prices start to rebound higher above the support, heading back towards that 1150 level once again. But with the immediate 1GT bearish signal, prices trading relatively weak under a resistance, not too sure if that 1050 support is able to hold. I would think now, immediately, as of today, as of now, not the time to buy yet. What we want to look out for are signs that momentum or buying momentum is picking up first. All right. Firstly, of course, we want to see prices, moving, consolidating, then starting to push higher, that key support level holding, and then next up, we want to see that 20 days moving average start to flatten out and then hopefully point up and crossing above that 100 days moving average, looking something like this. And then I think that is where you can have a better confirmation. It's a better confirmation where you can actually, look into it again, come in with a better, more conviction about Netflix. So currently, if we look at that trailing resistance very steeply heading down already. So right now it's trading around that 1200. That dynamic resistance is at 1200. You want to also start to see that trailing resistance start to flatten out, start to move a little bit sideways as prices stop falling or that free fall stops. Okay, so I think Joy, hopefully that helps for Netflix. I mean, yeah, do watch out for the stock split if you are buying as well. You don't want to be selling or unable to key in your order because the stock split has already been executed and you have 10 times more shares. Okay, yeah. So just don't be shocked if the prices divided by 10 as well. So yeah, I think that's it for Netflix. Right now, I think hopefully Z is okay. Z, everything okay on your side?
I think it should be okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I can hear
pretty
you.
good. Loud and clear.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll pass the time now to Z.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Hopefully everything is okay, because just now initially my mouse had issue. Then after that suddenly my camera had issues, right? So today is just full of technical issues starting from Joey and then me. Hopefully later don't the technical issue don't go to Berwin. Okay.
Really. Today, really, everything is like, why your mouse, camera, computer shut down, hang, a lot of things. Really. But thankfully, it's all back to good. Okay, let's go.
Okay, can. So the next stock that I'll be covering will be by Edward, right? So Edward is looking to buy TXN at 159. Will it go up? Okay, so maybe for those of you here, I think we have about 170, 180 over people here, right? Maybe you guys can help me, right? You guys can help me out. Based on the chart that you guys are seeing now, what do you guys think you guys should advise Edward? Do you think that is it a good time to actually buy this stock now for TXN, or is it better to wait? Maybe you can let me know, right? Buy or wait. Buy, maybe you type B, W for wait. B for buy, W for wait. Okay, let me know. Let me know what do you guys think in the chat for this particular stock, TXN. Let's see. Okay. Colin, wait. Ivan, wait. Alex, wait. Tessa, wait. Okay, a lot of wait. Victor said wait for consolidation and support. Okay, a lot of you guys say wait. Okay, so Edward, that one, everybody say wait. Maybe let's see. Let's see why they all say wait, right? Okay, so first thing first, for Texas, definitely we always say look at the trend first, right? Trend is the most important thing. The trend is your friend. You want to be aligned with the trend. So based on this, just by looking at the trend, even if let's say I don't turn on the signals, I just turn it off. All right. Anyway, just look at this. The trend, it doesn't look that great, right? First thing first, because why? The 20 days moving average crossed below both the longer term and it's pointing down. And then the red is actually also pointing down. And this is not what we want to see, right? We want to see like that green, red, blue in this manner and all pointing up, right? But this is what we are seeing now, right? So not that ideal, right? In terms of the trend, not that great, right? And the other thing is that prices has been kind of like what we call forming lower highs, right? You can see right over here. Okay, let me just circle this here, and then it recently just broke below this level, right? Okay, so in actually this level, I should change from green to become a red, right? So prices have also kind of like been forming what we call lower highs, and it has also broken below like a very key support level at 170, right? And just now, when I turn on these buy and sell signals, additionally, what do we see? We see two consecutive 1GT bearish signals. So all these signs, right, actually it's not that great, right? It's not that great because definitely we don't want to see bearish signal, right? Someone not just one but two consecutive bearish signal. It just means that there's more selling pressure coming. Plus the fact that the price action is confirming that as well because it has broken below the 170, right? So in terms of the price, right, as of yesterday close, we see that price actually closed at 160, right? So Edward, you mentioned that you're looking to buy at 159, so it's just $1 below yesterday's closing price. I'm not sure whether today, if we really put your order, will you get hit? Likely it may get hit, right? But the thing is that usually what we want to do for situations like that, right, is to wait first, right? Because why? We want to wait for more confirmation that at least the short-term trend and the selling pressure has kind of like subside, and there is some sort of buying pressure returning before we think about getting in, right? Because we don't want to, you can buy. Nobody say cannot buy here. You buy here, but what is the likelihood of it prices going down because the short-term trend, right, is still pointing down. There's still selling pressure present, right? The likelihood of it going down probably will be quite high compared to if we start to see that the 20 days moving average starts to flatten out and even point back up, right? That would be even better, right? Rather than 20 days moving average is continue pointing down. You buy here, if prices go lower, do you buy here? Then if prices go lower, do we buy here? This is not what we want, right? This is not what, because that may happen if if you do not have a trading plan and you just buy into a stock, right? And then it keep going down, you keep averaging down, and that is where a lot of times people might get stuck and sit on huge unrealized losses, right? So the key here is to actually wait for confirmation first, right? To wait for confirmation first and to see where are buying pressure returning. So right over here, right, somewhere in April and May, this was one of the lows, right, that we actually saw, when the entire market just sell off because of the initial announcement of the Trump tariffs, right? So this was where we started to see buying pressure returning, and this level is at 140, right? So that's the reason why I actually drew a support level at 140, right? I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know whether price will actually really go to 140 and then rebound back like that, right? But I do know that based on past price action, 140 is where buying pressure came back to support the prices. But of course, with that information, if prices go 140 and it break below the 140, then of course I think this probably will get another 1GD bearish signal, and all three moving averages will be pointing downward, and that is not where you would think about buying because definitely the trend is down, and we don't want to think about buying when the stock is in a downtrend. All right, so for Edward, to answer your question, right, I think first thing, definitely you want to wait for some confirmation first, right? At least for 20 days moving average to go sideways, right? For it to actually stop pointing down, go sideways, and also the 100 days moving average, right, to actually go sideways. Because if all of these three, right, moving averages are actually going to go sideways like that, right, potentially what we can see would be a sideways consolidation like that, rather than it continue going down and down and down, right? So that's one thing that we want to monitor. And the second thing is, if we can actually witness and see another 1GT bullish signal coming out, then even better, we get another confirmation, right? And if prices can break and hold above the 170, another confirmation, right? So these are some of the confirmations that we want to see before even thinking about buying. And definitely, we perhaps want to be a bit more patient before actually, going into a stock that is in a downtrend because the last thing that we want is to be stuck, right? Sit on a stock and stuck with unrealized losses. Okay, Edward, I hope that helps to give you something to think about. Don't rush into buying a stock just because you think that it is cheap compared to 2 to 3 months ago, right? So that would be for TXN Texas Instrument. Perhaps I'll pass the time back over to Joey to cover the next stock.
All right. Okay. Very good. Let me go to cover the next one. Thank you so much, Z. All right. In fact, the next stock which I'll talk about will be something like what Z is asking about. Let me go ahead to share my screen, and that is asked by Victor. All right, Victor. I hope you're still over here. Victor Xiao. I bought Sprout Farmers market a week ago, and sadly it gapped down. All right, last night. Yes, indeed, it really did gap down. Right. What is your comment for my forward looking? Need to cut loss or hold on for better price? All right. So I think there are two parts to this question. First of all, you say you bought. All right, and then no choice, I bought already, right? Then went down, right? So the question is, what should you do next, lah? All right. So let's tackle the first question first, right? Like, you bought it, right? So my question is, why do you buy it? Like, what's the reason? Right? Why do you want to buy this stock, right? I mean, that's the first question, right? So you can see that based on this stock right over here, Sprout Market, Victor, I'm not too sure whether you have these two, all right? You have these two, but anyway, guys, I mean, today we don't have the time to explain the whole strategy or how the 7-step checklist that we're using on the One Good Trend Pro indicator, but just to share with you that next Tuesday, all right, on the 4th of November, next Tuesday, 7:30 p.m. In fact, let me just go to share with you the page, right? The team just placed the link in the chat, right? Where you come to this page over here, click on the link, and you can find out in this webinar, the very last final webinar of this year, all right? And that's where, guys, that I'll be talking about a little bit more about the entire One Good Trend strategy, 4th of November, right over here, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. All right, and that's where I'll share with you guys a little bit more in depth, like in terms of like, how do we pull out and sieve out the top 1% hit list stocks, right, in the Singapore and the US market. How do you know exactly when to get in and get out on them after pulling them out? All right, and about the mindset, about the beliefs as well of the entire One Good Trend strategy. So today, if you have time to cover the whole framework, but if you want to find a bit more, Victor especially, right, check out the link is right in the chat. Click on it, register for it, and that's where I look forward to share more with you about the entire framework. I think that could definitely help you much more, right? Today is just pump, right? We just go through your stocks very quickly, one by one. Hopefully you get some, kind of like an opinion on what to do, right? Okay, now let's take a look at this stock. You can see that I've already turned on the 1GT Pro indicator based on the bullish and bearish signal. So even before I turn it on, you can see that the short-term trend has been like flat since May and June. Then don't know what happened in July. It's just like down, right? The green line. I mean, don't need to bluff yourself, like the green line pointing up or down. Down, right? It's still down, right? I look left, I see up, down, it's still down, right? Ultimately, the short-term trend is still down, right? And not only that, look at the longer-term trend, all right, whereby 100 days moving average went below the 200 days moving average. Since like early October, we officially got a confirmation that the longer-term trend has also turned down, all right? So the question is that, hey, you bought it like a week ago, which is like last week. I mean, it did rebound a little bit, but we still don't want to go against, even though it went up a bit, doesn't mean it's going to go up all the way, right? We are still, don't want to go against the longer term trend and the short term trend. Plus, if you take a look at it, Victor, I mean, based on this 1GT Pro indicator, we get the first bearish signals. Number two, why we're not even faster. Yesterday, of course, got another one, like 3 bearish signals. So yesterday one, you don't know, right? Because this came out yesterday, right? But the fact is that, a week ago, we don't see any bullish signal, I mean, right, there isn't a bullish signal last week, right? The bearish signals in August already came out, we're still going down, right? So there's no clear confirmation to get in, right? So why get in? You see what I'm saying so far? All right, so for us, very simple, right? If there's no confirmations to get in, to write the reversal in terms of strength, in terms of a very clear, bullish signals coming out, in terms of maybe the green line, that is like going down and down, don't go down, maybe start to like turn up, okay, fine. Right? But if you don't have, then why you get in? Does it make sense? So I hope that helps. I mean, in terms of like how, having a tool like that could help you, not just about, to pull out the top stocks or when to get in, but essentially to also understand whether certain stocks are definitely what we call a no-no. All right, and this is definitely one of them. We would not even want to think about buying stocks like this because we got all the confirmations and all of them are saying it's down. All right, so we definitely do not want to buy stocks like this. All right, so let's go ahead to the second part, right? I mean, of course, you've got in mind, maybe you don't have this indicator, right? So attend a free webinar next Tuesday. The link is right in the chat. Check it out. And that's where hopefully you can have access to this as well. Then you can also see whether you can get in or not. Okay. But let's take a look at what has happened right now in terms of could there be more downside? Well, essentially, right, it did gap down yesterday, right? We have broken this support level, all right, around the $100. So $100 was where, okay, so if you ask me, Sprout Farmers Market, if you ask me in like June last year, Pump, right? Pump. Wow, no problem. I mean, you got a few bullish signals, long-term trend up, short-term trend up, all the way up 84%. That no problem, right? 84%. If you ask me in December 2023, pump, we got a bullish signal. There we go, all the way up 87%. No problem, right? Because at a point in time last year and last year, we got bullish signals, right? All the trend indicators were all pointing up, right? Even over here as well, in January, I would say January this year, right? January this year, we got a new 1GT bullish signal, right? There we go, all the way up 23%, started to sound down, right? So it was actually okay. If you ask me, like last year, fine, and last year, right? But beginning of May and June, you can see really not one but two bearish signal, right? So we don't want to like, oh, because last year go up means this time will go up. No, right? I mean, a stock can turn, a stock can show signs of reversal, and you can U-turn back down, right? So we don't want to just get in because last year it was doing well, means this year should be doing well. Does it make sense? All right. We only get in when the stock has proven itself, and we get a few confirmations. We get 4 out of 7 steps out of the 7-step checklist that I have in a one good trend strategy, and we think about getting in. All right. So you can see, right? Back to here. $100 was where we got bullish signals, pump, we broke it all the way up, right? And unfortunately, you can see back to here, we have kind of broken the 100 psychological support level. So not so good. That's the reason why it triggered what we call a 1GT bearish signal, because it has broken this horizontal support level. And not only that, it seems like $80 is a support level that is broken as well. I mean, now it's 77.25, right? So I would say that, okay, first thing, I mean, we definitely don't want to buy stocks like this. Of course, no choice buy really, right? It went down. You need to have a plan. Need to have a plan to really get out if needed. All right, we want to reduce some exposure at least. Why? Because you can see, right, for a stock that's going down and down, I mean, you could have gone in at 140 and then you think it's cheap. You go to 120, you think it's cheap. You get in at 105, you think it's cheap, now becomes 77, right? You think it's cheap, you get in, becomes 60. You think it's cheap, become 40. Right? I don't know, right? I mean, cheap can become cheaper in the market. We never want to buy a stock that is cheap or hold on to a stock that's just getting cheaper every other day, right? We want to have a plan, all right, and hope is not a plan. All right, we don't hope that it will recover. All right, we just do what we need to do. Right, time to get out, you get out. All right, especially if all the confirmations are all pointing down for now. So for me, it's very simple. I think below 100, not even below 100, below 80, it just looks a bit weaker. You might want to reduce some exposure, have a plan to get out. All right, you definitely don't want to just hold on to it all the way down, because you never know how low it can go. All right, so that is for Sprout Farmers Market. Victor, I hope you have a better opinion. All right, I hope all of you get a better opinion as well in terms of like what to do. All right, and maybe what not to do as well, what not to buy as well, especially if you see things like this, by bearish signals coming out, all the trend indicators all pointing down as well. Make sense? All right. Okay, so let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next US stock. Bervin, yours.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see. Here we have Tamil asking, Micron, please review. Okay, let's see. We go on the screen right now. We have Micron. All right, Micron, I think showing very good signs. I think since that 1GT bullish signal actually came out right here in August up to now, that's a solid over 80% gains already. So I'm not too sure, Tamil, whether you are actually holding on to some Micron or not. If you are, congratulations. If you are not in position for Micron yet, let's take a look at where could we potentially get it. All right, so I have some lines actually drawn for Micron already for my last analysis. Let's see. I think we can say that temporary we can have that psychological support right at that $200 level. $200 level. Why? Is because there's a nice round numbers. We tend to, we as human beings tend to like these nice round numbers where we usually see sellers coming in close to this psychological level, or buyers coming in if prices dip down towards this psychological support. And at this point, that 20 days moving average, which is pointing up, is also trading very close to that psychological level. So I think that is a very good sign, or a few signs that is pointing towards that this level could be a level where accumulation could come in. So this is where I would like to draw like a buy zone, right? A buy zone. So somewhere maybe 200 to 205 could potentially see some buyers coming in, do a little bit of bargain hunting, accumulate on the dips. whatever you call it, all right, as long as that level holds, I believe that that longer term uptrend could remain intact, right? Could remain intact with that upside towards that 240 resistance first. All right, so it's actually very easy where we get that 240 is actually we did a very simple projection previously on that. So actually for Micron, let me just turn on that trailing support. That trailing support is definitely sloping up alongside the prices as well. It is currently under that $200 level. So this is potentially where you could also, accumulate close to that trailing support. Another sign pointing that that buy zone could be very much intact. But if you are actually already holding on to some positions, this could be a level where you want to use to actually place your stop limit order, right? It's because if prices continue to head up, you want to be able to shift this stop limit order higher and higher and higher. All right. But okay, here's the thing. These prices have ran up quite a little bit without much consolidation as well. Don't have much consolidation there. So potentially may see sellers coming in close to that 240 for that bit of profit taking. Very normal. But if you want to sell close to that 240 level, maybe 237, 238, you want to get out as well, I say completely okay. Completely okay as well. Nothing wrong to take some money off the table, enjoy the weekend. All right. But leave some positions. You can also leave some positions to continue to ride that upside. Why? Is because if that 240 gives way and a new support is formed. So in the words of Joey, this could be the next leg towards that uptrend. Right? Towards where? Towards that 280 level. That 280 level that would have represented if we use that same 1 GT bullish signal that appeared right here all the way up to 280, that's 126%, over 125% in gains from that first 1 GT bullish signal. So I think you also need to set up another 1 GT alert. 1 GT alert, why? Is because if a consolidation happens, prices hit back down towards that 200, then maybe go to 220, a little bit up, but consolidation happens like that, and then prices break above, right? Break above that 240 level, you may see another 1 GT bullish signal don't just show up right there after a meaningful consolidation. So I think definitely worth setting up an alert for that, because if you want to scale into your wins, that could be an opportunity for you to do so, to ride that further upside. All right, so I think that is for Micron so far, still looking pretty good. All right, all signs pointing to the upward momentum able to continue as well. All right, so next up, I'll pass the time to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Bhavin. Okay, so the next stock that I have over here would be by Ian, right? Ian is asking about SCCO and Meta. So I believe just now Bhavin had covered Meta as well already. So maybe I'll just do SCCO now. All right. So you mentioned that accumulate more at what entry price or take profits. Your average cost is at 66.53. All right. Maybe let me just hide this comment first, because maybe cannot really see the date. Okay. So for SCCO, right over here, you mentioned that your average cost price is about 66. Wow. So definitely you are sitting on quite a bit of profits right now, from 66 all the way to where you are at as of yesterday price close. You are sitting on, oh wow, over 100% profits already. Right, you're sitting on over 100% profits. Okay, so based on these, right, you are thinking about adding more positions, right, accumulating more position, and that is definitely the right mindset to have, right? Even though you know that, hey, last time you bought at $60 over, now price is about $100 over. Is it okay to buy more and average up? Perfectly fine, right? Because that is the right kind of mindset that we want to have, rather than we buy more when prices is going down. It's okay to buy more when price is going up, right? Because you want to average up, you want to increase exposure, right? Because the trend is still good. Okay, right? It's okay. But what a lot of people tend to do is that they rather buy more when the price is going down, which is totally the mindset that we don't want to adopt and we don't want to have, because that means that you are averaging down, and averaging down, the price go down some more, you buy some more, go down some more, you buy some more, and then that's not what we want now. All right. So first thing first, Ian mindset definitely is great, right? And you're thinking about accumulating more. But now the question is at what level and at what price, right? So based on this chart right now, definitely uptrend intact, right? Short term, long term intact. 1GT bullish signal is still in play, right? This bullish signal actually came out when 3rd of September, right? And as of yesterday, there is no bearish signal yet. It's still in play, right? Earnings result also came out recently already. When was it? On 28th of October, right? And price right now, as of last night, closed at $140, right? So based on this, maybe we can spot a few support and resistance level first, right? To see potentially where are the support levels so that you can accumulate if prices were to retrace back to that level or set some price alert like a potential buy zone, right? So let's see. So right now here, I would say at this 135, right, near this 135, definitely there will be some sort of like support, right? Because previously when prices was actually consolidating sideways, price was kind of like taking a pause, right? It was just going sideways for a bit, but when prices go sideways, the 20 days moving average, if you realize, is actually still pointing up. It didn't go sideways, right? It's still pointing up. But we can see based on the candlestick that prices was actually testing this level, right? A few times, 135, right over here, right? So it was testing this level for maybe about 1 to 2 weeks. Didn't manage to break above it, but eventually broke above it, and over the past 2 days, it is still holding above this 135. So I would say 135 definitely is one of the immediate horizontal support level that perhaps you can establish right over here, right? Of course, the next support level I would say will be at 120 which is one of a psychological level. And previously back over here, as you guys can see, somewhere in May, this was where it was a resistance. Price tested it, unable to break above, and then came back down, pushed all the way back down. And since then, right, prices was kept below this 120 only until recently, somewhere in October, it managed to break and hold above it, right? So I would say 120 would be one of the very key psychological support to take note of, right? So now that we know that, there is this support level at 120, and also 135, right? So there is two levels that we can actually take note of, 120 and 135. And in terms of the resistance wise, in terms of the upside target that we are looking at, why did I draw it at 150? Number one is because it's based on a very simple projection up like that, right? From 120 to 135, we bring it up, it's about 150. And secondly, also 150 is what we call a psychological level, right? So we know that now potential upside target that we can draw towards is 150. Right, so now that we have support level and resistance level, easy, right? Easy. So next step, what we can do is based on this, right? You can actually set some price alert, right? So in terms of adding position, right? We want to buy near where? Near a support zone, right? So definitely somewhere here, right? Okay, let me just draw it quickly. Near this support zone, right? This near 135. This is one of the immediate support zone that perhaps Ian, right? Ian, you can actually take note of, right? But secondly, I also want to bring your attention to this, which is the trailing support function, right? So let me just turn it on. And right here, we can see that the trailing support, right, it has been consistently moving up, right? There was this period that you can see that it actually went sideways for a bit, right? This was the period that price has also kind of just consolidated sideways. Trailing support also moves sideways. And remember just now we mentioned that trailing support, it follows the prices as it moves up, right? So price move up, this trading support also moves up already, because trading support is dynamic and it accounts for the stock volatility, right? So even though, yes, I drew my horizontal support at 120, but that is static, right? It doesn't move when the price moves up, right? So to account for the volatility, we can also make use of these trailing support for a potential zone of entry, right? So next one that you can also set some price alert on would be somewhere here, right, near the trailing support, right? This, I think the trading support is about this 124, right? So near this 124, 125, 126, 127, this could be a range, right? Because it's not always like a specific point. It's always a zone, because nobody can guarantee you that at this specific point, right, this is where, definitely must buy in at this point. It's always a zone. People will usually sell at a zone. People will usually buy at a zone. So these are the two zones that perhaps, Ian, you can actually set some price alert to notify yourself if prices were to retrace back to this few levels for you to actually accumulate on the dips, right? Especially so when your average cost price is pretty low, right? It's at 66. But of course, do remember to take steps to actually protect your profits as well, right? And if price were to definitely, go rebound like that and go up to maybe 150, right? There's nothing wrong for you to actually take some partial profits near this zone, right? Near the 150 psychological level as well. Nothing wrong, right? Nothing wrong to take partial profits. And definitely when you take partial profits, you will also feel good. Put the money in your pocket first, realize it already. The balance position, if the uptrend is still strong, can continue to actually ride it up. All right, so yeah, that would be for SCCO, Ian. I hope that helps to give you some levels to think about and also to set some price alerts on. All right, so back over to you, Joey, to cover the next stock.
All right, okay, very good. Let's move on to the next one. Just to confirm, we have not done NVIDIA yet, right, team?
No.
No,
I think
NVIDIA hasn't been covered.
Okay, good. I think I saw one comment on NVDA. NVIDIA, one of the very popular AI stock. Let me just go ahead to pull out my screen. All right, and there we go. All right, so this is NVIDIA right over here. Who is asking? SFR 7916. Okay, come, let's take a look at NVIDIA, right? I think you're asking that you long NVDA start of the month, so maybe beginning of October. Okay, not too bad. It came down a bit yesterday. Yeah, correct. Came down a bit yesterday after hitting ATH post. And is it still okay to hold on? Very good. Thank you so much for those of you who are typing in the chat, especially if we have covered your stocks, right? But I really appreciate that you guys give us a bit of context. Like you bought it, what price, you want to sell, you want to think about getting in, that kind of thing, right? So that at least we have a better understanding of your position, your scenario, and then we can advise accordingly, right? Okay, so your question is that you've gone in, is it still good to hold on? Because maybe it can go up some more, right? What if you sell them after go up some more, wasted, right? So what should you do? Let's take a look at it, right? So you can see that for NVIDIA, very quickly, I've already turned on the 1GT Pro indicator. So you can see right over here, right? Pump, off, blank chart, turn it on, and there we go. So if you see a couple of like bearish signals, right, coming out, like 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish signals, then I would say to not hold on, to get out. Like for example, if you ask me in like February or March, you can see, right, pump, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bearish signals, and then you tell me you want to hold on, can you hold on? Or then you went from like 140 go down until 100, right? You okay, right? Then you hold on, right? So we don't want to hold on if we see weakness, if we see bearish signals, right? But if you tell me that we got a bullish signal yesterday or last week, and then wow, there are some signs of reversal, like over here when it came out in May, you want to hold on? I say okay lah, because why? There are signs of confirmation of this stock beginning to reverse, so it's good to hold on to, right, the reversal. Does it make sense? Right? And there we go, right? All the way up for NVIDIA, right? And we got a bearish signals, get out, take some profit. How many percent? 54%. All right, in about 3 months. Okay, 54% in 3 months, right? Take some profit, get out first, right? Wait for a re-entry. So very good that you got in like beginning of the month, beginning of October. I think maybe somewhere over here. Well, we did actually got a 1GT bullish signal, right? The long-term trend is up. Another confirmation. The green line actually started to turn up. Another confirmation as well. All right, and good. All right, I'm not too sure exactly what price you got in because you told me you got in beginning of the month, but I think it should be maybe about 1.8 something, 1.85, 1.82, 1.84, around there lah. So good. At least you're sitting on some profits already, right? Based on this bullish signal, it's gone up. But let's see if there could be even more upside. So what you can see is that the bullish signal is still in play. Right, long and the short-term trend is still up, so very good confirmation. And let's take a look at a potential resistance level whereby it has actually broken over the past week. So you can see that I would say that 195 to 200 would be what we call psychological resistance level. We touched, came back down, maybe up to 200 as well. We've gone back down, but over the past week, well, we did see some strength coming back, of course, with the Federal Reserve kind of cutting the Fed fund rates the second time this year by 0.25%. All right, and that kind of like spurred a lot of a positive sentiment in many of those semiconductor stocks, especially NVIDIA, which is the leader of the entire AI space. Right, and it has broken not just the 195, but also the 200 psychological resistance level. So we went all the way to 210, and yeah, a bit of profit taking because went up quite fast. Like we need, like 5 days, right? Pump, right? From here all the way here, 16% in 3-4 days. I mean, okay lah, let it take some profit, rest a bit lah. Also, a bit of profit taking yesterday, which I think is fine. So overall, my take in NVIDIA is that I think it still looks bullish, right? Yeah, we did see a bit of profit taking, maybe near 210. That would probably be. Can we just shift this up? 210 would probably be a near-term resistance level. Support-wise, we could put it maybe around the 195, I think right over here. And we can also turn on the trailing support to see what it says. All right. So you can see this trailing support is popped up. It is following NVIDIA as it's moving up, right? You can see up, flat, hasn't really gone up that much. So it kind of like, followed a little bit, but you can see that there's still space between the price and the trailing support. Does it make sense, Bob? All right, which is correct because this trailing support, as what Bobby and Z have shared as well, it follows a stock as it moves up, right? But you don't follow too closely. You give the stock the space to breathe, right? To move, right? And as long as you're above it, you're good. That would be some sort of another confirmation, all right? And there's still some space pretty much right over here below the horizontal support about 195, maybe all the way to 185. So above 185 or maybe above 195, to be honest, it still looks quite okay. Trend, are all looking good, not just in the longer term, but also in the short term. So I think it's still okay to hold, right? I think it's still okay to hold. Maybe even if it breaks 210, I think targets could be revised all the way to 230, maybe even to 250 as well. So I think NVIDIA, definitely one of the stocks that, I think it looks pretty good, right? It looks pretty good. Uptrend intact, one of the stocks that you can think about holding. But when we say hold, right, take note, guys, that because some people say that, hold, right? But hold for how long, right? Is it hold 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, 5 months, 10 months, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, right? Well, I don't know, all right? I don't know exactly how many months to hold it, right? But what I know is that it can be 1 month, it can be 5 months, it can be 10 months or 1 year or 2 years, right? But if it looks okay, then you continue to hold lah. But if it looks like there's some like, like pump, like 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish signal coming in, you tell me you want to hold, then I would say like, why you want to hold, right? So we get out if there's a need to get out, right? If there's no need to get out and everything still looks bullish, then you continue to hold and ride the upside lah. Does it make sense, All right, so that's what you do, right? So, but don't hold if you see like bearish signal and then you tell me still holding, then of course, please don't do that lah. All right, Ken, so that will be for NVIDIA. I hope that makes sense, all right? And let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Fully agree. If the stock looks good, the trend looks good, can continue to hold. So I think next one, let me just cover this one. All right, Christina is asking, prices of PO, the Powell Industries and Sterling Infrastructure, have gone up quite a little bit since you last recommended. Okay, these are the bonus stocks that we have actually, covered in the previous AMAS session. So I think I will cover Sterling Infrastructure. No worries there. Let's see right here. Sterling Infrastructure, yes, surely it still looks good. I mean, just one glance, it still looks good. Why? Very quickly, that 3 days moving average is still pointing up. The 100 days moving average is still pointing up. The 200 days moving average is still pointing up, and they are all above each other. And let me just turn on that buy and sell signal very quickly. Looks like we still have 1, 2, 3, 4, and most recently the 5th 1GT bullish signal have just appeared. All right, the 5th 1GT bullish signal has just appeared. When is it? On the 24th of October. So it has indeed gone up for quite a bit. So if we are looking at the 1GT signals from here to yesterday's close, that is a very, very solid 234%. Let's call it 230% in a span of almost 6 months. Right? So very, very, very good gains. But can it go up higher? All right, can it go up higher? So like what Joey have just said, if the stock is looking good, all right, the trend is still looking good, there is no harm to continue holding. Why? It's because at this point, it looks like the prices are just pretty much consolidating at that $400 psychological resistance. Hasn't really broken above it just yet. It came close to testing it, tried to close above it on the 29th of October. Didn't manage. As next day we saw a little bit, or yesterday we actually saw a little bit of selling actually come in. So profit taking, very normal, I think, in the market where prices are continuing to push higher. But that immediate target still remains around that $400. So if you are currently holding on to some Sterling Infrastructure, you want to take some profits there, sure, okay, no problem. But why not monitor and just see if prices are able to break above that 400 to unlock that next phase of the uptrend. All right, so I will just do a little bit of a projection here. So if you guys are still following Sterling Infrastructure, you just want to set up some alerts above $400, some alerts above $400 to just let yourself know that the breakout has completed, or there is currently a breakout that's happening. So just a little bit of projection here, and that upside could be very close to that $500 level, but let's draw it at about $480. $480. So there is still upside if the prices continue its momentum, still able to continue its push higher above that $400 level. Perhaps you may see a little bit of a slight consolidation here, because it looks like prices tend to consolidate. That healthy uptrend is still intact. Consolidate for about 1.5 months or so before testing that 480. I think is completely normal. So if you want to get in, Christina, I think have some alerts. You can potentially position yourself for a breakout trade and use that trailing support, all right, or even that horizontal support, because it is very close to each other at this point, as a stop limit level, as a stop loss level. All right, so I think right now still looking good for Sterling Infrastructure. I think the earnings are coming out on the 3rd of November. All right, so if you guys didn't know that every start of the month, the team or Joey's team will actually release a newsletter for the clients. So I just want to find out right here, right now, how many of you are clients of Joey under Philip Security and have been receiving the newsletters that we have been sending out every start of the month? Just type C in the chat so we know as well. Why am I bringing this up? It's because I understand many of you guys are concerned about earnings. So during every earnings season, the team actually tries to put together a earnings calendar for you guys. So it is for the Singapore market and the US market. So if you are looking out for those big names like Nvidia, all right, we have it in our earnings calendar as well. It is actually coming out on the 19th of November for Nvidia. So if you guys are not clients and want to be clients of Joey to enjoy his services, you must be trading somewhere, right? If you are here, you're probably trading somewhere. So you need a trading account. And so what the difference is for Joey's team, we try to give as much service as possible, as much value add as possible via dedicated WhatsApp channels. All right. And then you also receive daily trading ideas for the Singapore market. Completely free. Joey does this completely free. Never charge you all a single cent. You don't pay anything above what you are currently already paying. All right. Joey, anything
thank
to
you
add
so much for sharing that. I mean, that's one thing I forgot to share as well, guys. I mean, even though today, right, we're talking about the US market. I mean, it's an AMAS US session, right? But essentially, right, as a client of mine in Philip Securities, whereby we have a couple of top brokers like Bervin Z and the rest of my team as well, handling your trading account. That's where you get some of those services. Like our top ideas, right? Singapore market updates, videos, private trainings, daily by WhatsApp, right? For free. You do not pay anything more, right? So we have what we call a very exclusive private WhatsApp community, whereby my team is the admin and manages that community, and that's where we share those ideas, right? So if you are kind of like trading and then you have a trading account, I mean, you need to buy stock, you need to have a trading account somewhere, right? So my question to you is very simple, is your broker doing anything? Like, is there anybody there, or is it just like a hotline, or like you just log into this mobile app or website and then you just go and buy and sell? Nobody care about you, nobody send you anything, idea, video, nobody call you. If it's the case, right, then you want to click on the link in the chat, check out how you can become a VIP client of ours, of me and my team in Philip Securities, and that's where you can get all those ideas much faster in this very private WhatsApp community. All right, Ken. So yeah, thank you so much, Bobby, for bringing it out in case I forget, right? But that would be a lot. I think something that could help a lot of you as well, right? To get some of those Singapore ideas. In fact, I think today we sent out a few, one idea as well, right? Those of you who are clients, check it out, right? Maybe later I'll be sharing one more. I'm still watching it for a while, right? But we'll see how it goes. Okay, let me pass on the mic maybe to Z, right, to cover the next stock, and then maybe we can go to the bonus stock already. All right. Okay, come Z, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so the last stock that maybe we can go through from the comment section, right, would be, let me see, from Vincent. Right, Vincent is actually asking about Well Tower, right? I think it will be good to cover this stock as well, right? Because I think this was one of the stock that we also shared during one of our bonus stock in the AMAS US session, right? So maybe it could also be like recap and as well as an update, right, for this stock. All right. So Vincent mentioned that you have bought Well Tower at 167 and wonder if I could add some more positions. Right. Okay. So let's take a look at Well Tower right over here. Right. So for Well Tower right now, definitely, I think the uptrend, right, in terms of short term, long term, definitely all still looks pretty good lah. The long term one, you see it. I think this stock we have also covered a few times in our bonus session, right? That the longer term trend, right, it has been intact for quite some time already, right? You see, even if I were to pull all the way back, this was when April 2023, red crossed above the blue, and ever since then it has just been going up. Right, the longer term trend has been intact since then. Short term trend up and down. There are some periods of short term weakness definitely, whereby we also see 1GT bearish signal come out, right? And that is where you can potentially take some profits, right? If you have been riding the uptrend, it's okay to take profits, right? And right now, let me just zoom in for you guys to actually take a look, right? Okay, so right now for Well Tower, what do we see? Back in October, definitely there is a 1GT bearish signal. All of us can see, right over here, short-term weakness came back, and then subsequently we have 1 and 2 consecutive 1GT bullish signal coming out, right? 1GT bullish signal coming out. And I think earnings have also released a couple of days back, right, on Monday, right over here. And we actually see a very long bearish candlestick. But overall, I think it is still looking pretty good at this point in time, right? With the moving averages all heading up, plus we get 2 1GT bullish signal confirmation, right? Even though, yes, we see a quite bearish candlesticks, right? But that gives us insights into where the buyers and the sellers are at, right? So in terms of the resistance, right, it is pretty clear that the near-term resistance will be around this 190, right? 190 level, because this was where on the day, right, on this day, wow, the price went all the way up to open at 190, right? But then it closed all the way down back at about 180, right? So selling pressure is very strong here, right? It pushed the price all the way back down during the trading session itself, right? And subsequently, the next few days, price actually tested this 180 level. So this 180 level, right? Why I've drawn this is because previously, it was actually a resistance. Can you guys see it? Right over here, price actually tested it as a resistance, unable to break above it. Selling pressure came in, 1GT bearish signal came out. That's why 180, this is the level that I've drawn. And plus, it's a psychological level, right? 180. So I think over the past couple of days, what we can see is that price is indeed testing this 180. And as of last night, we got another 1GT bullish signal. Price actually closed above 180, but I think what will be good is to actually monitor, right? To actually monitor really whether this 180, right, can actually hold above it or not. Because I only have how many days? 2 days of information. 1 day below, 1 day above. I think you've got to see maybe a couple of days more to see whether this 180 indeed can hold and what we call turning into a higher support level, right? So in terms of adding position, so Vincent, you mentioned you bought at 167, right? 167, let's see, 167 to where we are at now. Yep, you are sitting on about 8% profits, right? Not too bad, right? Not too bad. And you're thinking about adding more position because the trend look good and we got 2 1GT bullish signal, right? That's great. That is the mindset that you want to have when in terms of adding position on averaging up, right? So definitely, I would say this zone, right? This 180, this zone right over here, right, would be one of the zones that we want to definitely look out for and potentially to set some price alert to accumulate, right? To accumulate near this zone, right? Because this could potentially be a new higher support level. But like what I mentioned, because so far we only got 2 days of data, right? Whether can price really hold above the 180, I'm not sure yet. So best is for you to actually set alerts, right? So like you can see right over here, right? I already set my price alert at 181. You can set multiple alerts, 181, 182, 183. As long as price is able to hold firmly above this 180, right? I think not too bad, right? Not too bad. And potential upside targets that we are looking towards would be definitely first towards the 190 level right over here. And if prices, consolidate like so and break above the 190, then the next upside target that we are looking at would be very clearly towards the $200 level with a projection up, right? And of course, $200, as you guys know, is also a psychological level, right? And if prices can break and hold above 190, potentially we might have another 1GT bullish signal as confirmation and even better, right? So In terms for Vincent, right, in terms of, for your case, right, if you are thinking about adding position, I think first and foremost, you can actually set some price alert to notify you and to monitor this 180 level first, right? Definitely right over here. The next one that you can actually look towards, right, would be based on the trailing support. So over here, turn on trailing support. And as you can see, right over here, price, is it currently above the trailing support? Yes, it is above the trailing support, right? That's a good thing. That's what we want to see, right? And near the trailing support is also where you can also set some price alert, right, to notify you if prices were to retrace back to this level for you to actually accumulate some positions on the dips, right? Because as long as price is holding above the trailing support, it's fine. It's fine, right? It is still okay. It's still okay, especially so when all the moving averages are still pointing up. All right, so these are the two zones that perhaps, Vincent, you can actually think about as well to see which zones you are more comfortable with, because at the end of the day, it really depends on every individual, right? Because like what I mentioned many times, right, every individual has different risk appetite as well. Because if prices were to break above this is considered what we call like a breakout strategy, right? Breakout strategy inherently it consists of more risk, right? It's riskier compared to something of like a retracement strategy. So each strategy have its own pros and cons, but at the end of the day, do always remember to have your stop loss plan in place, all right? So that at least you can still protect your downside and even protect your profits. Okay, I hope that helps, Vincent. That will be for Well Tower. I'll pass the time now over to Joey to start off today's bonus stock session.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let me go to okay. So I wanted to start off today's bonus stock session and share with you guys my first stock. By now, I just saw one stock coming in that was asked, and I find it's very interesting. So I thought maybe just cover that very quickly before I move on to the very first bonus stock. Right? Okay, maybe good to share my screen, right over here, and that is asked by Abu Z. Right? Do you think it's worth taking the risk in BA, all right? And I was like, hey, what do you mean by taking the risk, right? So I kind of like just put the name in the chat and in the chart, all right, and take a look. So that would be for Boeing company, right? Boeing company. So very simple. You can see, guys, that for Boeing company, right? I mean, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish signals, right? So why, right? So is it worth taking the risk, right? So when I see this question, I was like, what do you mean by that, right? So I believe that your question is it worth taking the risk to buy because it's cheaper, ma? Is it worth taking the risk to is like, to get in, because it's now cheaper yesterday, right? So my question is that if you see a couple of bearish signals, why do you want to take the risk? I mean, let's just look back, a little bit lah. I mean, like previously for Boeing, right? You can see pam, right? Pam, 2 bearish signals, and what happens, right? There we go, all the way down 20-30%. All right, and then we got bullish signal. It starts going up again. But what happens? Another bearish signal, and what happens? All the way down. All right, here also, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 bearish signal. All the way down. All right. So now we got like 1, 2, 3, 4. Why do you want to take the risk? You got me lah. Your 必要 man. I mean, why you want to get into to take the risk? That doesn't make sense. Why not get in only when you see signs of a reversal, palm, right? Like this. All right, or maybe like this over here, pam, 2 more bullish signals, you get other confirmations, you get back in again. Does it make sense? So I know to cover this stock to save you, right? Whereby to not risk it all and take the risk, all right? Because you never know, right? We have broken the 210 support. 200 will be a psychological support level we have been holding. We are just kind of like above it, like 200 and sorry, not even 201. It's 200.0.39, all right, which is like just right at 200, right? I can tell you if the 200 were to break down, we can maybe see a few more bearish signals coming out, right? So that's where you want to be more careful. We could hit all the way to like 140, 150. Is it worth really taking the risk to get in when you get so many bearish signals whereby you don't get any confirmations that it's starting to go up? I think probably not. All right, so I hope that helps. I wanted to save you first before we cover that bonus stock. All right, but before I talk about the bonus stock, guys, let me know, just type in the chat, guys, how many of you got value today? I mean, from what we have covered so far in terms of the stocks we shared as well. Type a V for value, guys. If you've got value today, let me know, right? Let me know if you've got value today. That's something that we want to make sure all of you get value, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose of today's session, and every Friday session we go live for free. Just want to add value to you guys, right? I want to cover a quick opinion on your stocks, all right? Let us know. Type V for value, guys. Let me know. All right, V for value. You've got value, especially if we cover your stock. Make sure you type, right? Not next time we don't cover your one already. Oh, okay. Let's see. Value Value. Styler, awesome, right? Did we cover Styler today? All right, value, awesome. Thank you so much. Our love for the bearish GT signal is unexplainable. Our love for it. Thank you so much. All right, value. Okay, I mean, you don't have to love it, right? But you just need to follow it, because you can pull it out. You can have the same things, but if your mindset is not right, your discipline is not there, then it might not work as well. So you want to make sure that you follow what we call a proven system. All right, something that is a simple, repeatable process that anybody can do it. All right, you just need to do what you need to do to get out once you get the confirmations. All right, so very good. Thank you so much for all of you who got value. Right, value. Okay, let's go to take a look at the bonus stock right now. All right, Styler, today don't have your stock, so sorry. Right, maybe next Friday, Styler, we can cover your one. All right, so today I think we cover like more than 15, 16 stocks. There's more than 40, 50 over stocks today, guys. So sorry, we cannot really cover 40, 50 stocks. You'll probably be 2-3 hours, right? But hopefully, every Friday we'll try to cover yours, and hopefully, you'll get your chance, all right? Thank you so much for your understanding, right? But let's go ahead to cover the very first bonus stock for today, since all of you have got value so far. And for me, the very first stock will be this company called SCCO system, right over here. All right, this is SCCO system, one of the stocks that has been in our watch list. We actually shared it with our subscribers as well. All right, and I mean, we have this US service whereby we do share some top US stocks, and SCCO system, the code is SCCO, has been one of the stocks that we like. Right? You can clearly see that this stock has been in a pretty good long-term uptrend, right? Just by looking at the 100 days moving average, the red line, and the blue line. So we definitely want to think about buying stocks like this, whereby the longer term trend must at least be up, lah. All right, it cannot be like the other one, going down and stuff. You ask me to buy it, there's no way we'll focus on stocks like this, lah. You must be in a longer term uptrend at least. That is pretty much the first, I would say, important step of the 7-step checklist that we are using. All right, and of course we must have bullish signals coming. Of course, you can see sometimes doesn't mean always bullish, but even though long-term trend is up, in the short term, we can see bearish signals, right? The green line also turned down. You wait first, be patient. All right. Look at these 2 bullish signals, all the way up. Every time we get a bearish signal, it comes down a bit, maybe flatten out a bit, resting a bit, right? That's fine. The key here is that if you get new bullish signals coming out, 1, 2, 3 bullish signals coming out, whereby the longer term trend is already up. The green line that was like quite boring from August to September, it goes sideways, right? But the past 1 month or past 2-3 weeks starting to point up as another confirmation. That is where you want to start putting this stock in your watch list again. Does it make sense? All right, and you can see right over here that there's this resistance level that I've drawn, right? It was actually the resistance at about the $72. That was where we were in August. We got a bearish signal, it's sold down, right? And we've been trading below this $72 for about 3 to 4 months. But if you take a look at it over the past few days, right, it seems like right now, because we got a 2 more 1GT bullish signal coming out, right? It seems like we are attempting to break the 72 resistance level, right? So it went up, then went down, but thankfully we're still above it, 72.91 now. We're luckily still above, right? So the point is this, right? I think if you can stay above 72, or maybe even test the 75 resistance and break above it, we could potentially see more upside, right? What could be the next phase of upside? Well, we could do a simple projection. Right over here, you can see that we have been consolidating, as I say, right, sideways from 65, 66, all the way to 72. So we can do a little bit of a projection, right? If we get out of this consolidation phase, where can we potentially head to? Well, let's just shift it all the way up. I would say it will be somewhere around that 78 to maybe 80. That could be the near-term resistance, whereby some profit taking can come back again, right? And that easily will be another 7-8%, right? Just for a near-term profits, all right? Of course, if the $80 to the break, targets could be revised even higher. So not too bad, right? A couple of bullish signals kept coming out. It was resting. I mean, if you ask me in July and August, I would say let it rest a bit first. It's still sleeping, right? But over the past 2 weeks, it seems like just woke up from his sleep, all right? Starting to see signs of confirmation of more upside. And these are stocks whereby you could think of putting in your watch list again to ride the next leg of the rally. All right. And that will be for SCCO system. The code is SCCO. So that will be my first bonus stock. Let me go to pass on the mic to Bervin to share his bonus stock for today. Bervin, all yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so let's see my bonus stock. I think if you guys have been following us for a while, you guys pretty much know that my bonus stock will be GE Aerospace that we have been following. Our team has been following for quite a while now, and why we decided to do this again is because, hey, we got another one GT bullish signal that actually just appeared on the 27th of October. So previously, there were people that was asking us, is it time to buy? Is it time to buy? Is it prices a bit too high now? Say, now prices have finally broken above a new resistance, now turned into a support, right? Earnings have already came out. All right, earnings have already came out, and pretty much across the board, GE has beat most of the expectations, and they have risen their guidance as well. Management is forecasting a good quarter forward. All right, and here's the thing, GE Aerospace has been pretty much demonstrating a very, very textbook uptrend. Right, prices consolidated. Right, I've just shaded the area consolidated for a while, for about 2 months or so. All right, for about 2 months, 1.5 months, 2 months, and then it consolidated again for another 1.5, 2 months. Right, and again consolidated for about 1.5 months, and finally broken above. So you can see a little bit of a pattern, consolidate, push higher, consolidate, push higher, consolidate, push higher. And now we have just pushed higher. Are we going to consolidate? My money is it will consolidate based on in the past. I would say that history could repeat itself again. All right, history could repeat itself again, where the upside target right now we have just drawn. We can just do a little bit of projection because prices are at its high. I would say close to the 330 level could be potentially where the next resistance could be. So prices could just be trading in a range for a while, which I wouldn't be surprised. But I think that's completely fine as well. So that helps actually, in fact, form what we call higher lows, in fact, as prices hit higher. So these are all signs of a positive, healthy uptrend. I mean, alongside, of course, we can look at that moving averages, right? The 20 days moving averages looking good, pointing up, 100 days pointing up, 200 days pointing up, nothing much to see there. But however, for those of you who have already gotten into position for GE Aerospace, we started covering it, you should be already sitting on some profits, right? You should be already sitting on some profits. So steps should be taken to continue to ride this uptrend, but to also protect your downside or to protect your profits. All right, so as of right now, we can see yesterday the trailing support is right around that $285 price level. All right, very close to that 280 support as well. So if there is nothing wrong for you to go and place a stop limit order. Let me just change this to like a dash line, change it to red color. A stop limit order, maybe 2-3% under that trailing support, just to protect your profits. Why? It's because if you have gotten in, say maybe right here upon this breakout, after that one GT bullish signal, you are already sitting on a 20% profit, like 20% profit. Either way, if you have set that stop loss, you are getting out with some money already. I mean, confirm not as much as 19%, but you are no longer making a loss. Then if with consistent movement, price movement up higher as prices consolidate, continue to shift it up. And eventually you'll be sitting on a tidy bit of profit no matter where the stock moves or how the stock moves. All right. If you are looking to sell, I think right now you still can see the upside to about 330 as long as the momentum is in place. Nothing wrong if you want to sell, but my question is, why sell when all the signs are still pointing towards a continuous uptrend? All right, so I think that is my bonus stock. I think we are all still watching GE Aerospace, so I think you should have it on your watch list if you haven't. Just do a quick add to your watch list later on if you want to. All right, so now I'll pass the time on to Z to cover the last bonus stock for today. Z, please.
All right, thanks, Bervin. Okay, let me just share my screen quickly over here. Okay, so the last bonus stock, right, that I would like to share with you guys today, right, it will be RTX, right? So since Bervin earlier on just now covered GE, this is another big name, right? RTX, which is Raytheon, right? And they are actually direct competitors, right? I think GE and RTX both, honestly, they have been doing pretty well, right? Like in terms of the aerospace and defense industry, like gaining momentums and things like that. And it's reflecting on both charts, both, as you can see, like what Bervin mentioned earlier on, and you look at this Raytheon chart now, both are definitely uptrending, steady and pretty strong. Right, but if you are asking me, hey, you know, which one is better because direct competitor, I would say both are actually pretty solid lah. So that's why both of them are actually featured today. But if it really comes down to, you know, which company you personally prefer lah, because you some people, they like this company more than the other, right? So make sure to do your own due diligence, right? To look more into the company, to read up about the company, and to see which one you like. But no harm adding both of them into your watch list to actually monitor them. All right. So without further ado, let's move on and talk about RTX. All right, so let's take a look at RTX first. I haven't even turned on the signals yet, right? But based on this, I mean, you guys can see, right, the uptrend with all the stocks that we usually pick for bonus stock, you will see that the uptrend is pretty intact. We will never pick a stock that is downtrending. We will never buy into a stock that is downtrending, right? So definitely RTX still look great, right? Long term, short term, all three moving averages are pointing up. And along the way, as you can see, based on previous months, right, you can see that previously we have already drawn, like, you know, multiple lines over here, right? And these are lines that were previously resistance and price break above it, turning it to become a support. So in a sense, right, based on this one look, cursory glance, you can see that price have been breaking resistance, finding new higher supports along the way, right? And that is what happens in a strong stock, right? Buying pressure is present, pushing price up, buyers are willing to buy at higher prices, right? So this is why we actually have multiple support levels that is being drawn right over here. But later we will dive deeper into that as to where are some of the levels that perhaps some of you guys can actually take note of and set some price alert, all right? So as of last night, price actually closed at what? Let me see. 177.42. Right? Price actually closed at this level. Right? And first thing first, we try to take the low hanging fruits, okay? And the resistance very clearly, right, based on the price action over the past couple of days, right, the near term resistance is pretty clear at this 180 level, right, over the past couple of days, right? Earnings came out, wow, bam, price gap up, went all the way up, tested this 180, and then selling pressure came in, profit taking happened. Now price is pretty close to the 180, right? I don't know whether it will break above the 180 or not, but definitely I know that 180 is where selling pressure is present, right? And in terms of support level, immediate support level, I've drawn it at about 170. Why? Because 170 previously back here was a resistance back in October, right? And when price gap up, right, this was actually the level that it was tested also, right? Because prices during the trading session, probably selling pressure, push the price back down, right? Price gap up, how many percent? Let me see, from this day, right, when it closed all the way to this day when it opened, right, about a 7% when price get up and open on the day itself, right? Definitely profit taking will happen, selling pressure will come back in to try to push the price back down, right? Because price gave up about 7%. But buyers came back in at about this 170 based on the lower shadow, right? And you can see that then subsequently, the couple of days later, price is still holding above 170. So I would say 170 would be definitely the immediate support level to take note of, right, at this point in time. And these are all the previous support levels. So 160, as you can see over here, pretty clear, right? 160 tested, break above it. Here it tested again, but then it didn't go all the way back down to the previous support, right? And then subsequently, the catalyst came, which is the earnings result, right? And bam, it went all the way up. And then, of course, the even lower support will be about 150 right over here that was being tested multiple times as well, right? So in essence, prices have been consistently finding new higher support, right? So with that, let me just turn on the buy and sell signal to have a look as well. So bam, okay, turn on. Right over here, what do we see? We see a 1 GT bullish signal, right, on this day when price actually had the earnings result announced, right? But it's still playing out, right? It's still playing out. And there is no bearish signal yet. Plus, all three moving averages, right, are actually heading up. So in terms of right now, some of you guys perhaps might be thinking, then like that, maybe where can I potentially, enter a position, right? There are two ways, right? Number one definitely would be near a support zone, right? Support zone, which is the immediate support that we've established earlier on, near the 170, right? So this is where you can potentially set some alerts, right? So maybe let me just quickly set an alert as well, right? Add alert, right over here, right around this level, 171, 172. This is the zone that could be a potential buy zone that we could be looking at, right? If prices were to retrace to this level, you will be alerted, right? This is one of the zone, right, near a support level. The next zone that we can potentially look at would be here, right? But this is provided that if prices consolidate like this and break above the 180, right? And essentially 180 will turn from what we call resistance to become another higher support. Then this would be what we consider a breakout strategy already, right? But of course, breakout strategy, like what we always mention, it always carry more risk, right? So make sure, regardless, either you do the retracement strategy or the breakout strategy, both make sure to have a stop loss plan in place to manage your downside, right? But then you might be asking, okay, if prices were, if price break above 180, maybe I get in near the breakout strategy, right? What is my potential upside target? Very simple, we do a projection upwards, right over here, right near the 190. This would be our next upside target that we could be potentially looking at if price can break and hold above the 180. All right, so with that, these are some of the levels, right, that perhaps you can take note of, especially so in terms of, you know, these two zones, right, potential buy zones that you can take note of. Retracement or breakout, no right or no wrong, right? Really depends on individual risk appetite. And make sure to have your stop loss plan in place to protect your downside, right? So far, everything for this definitely still looks good. Will definitely still be in our watch list as well. Okay, yeah. So with that, I think, oh yeah, before I close and pass the time back over to Joey, right? I think one of the things that I also wanted to highlight and to bring your attention to is that, you know, all of this that we have talked about today, right, in terms of the signals, the levels, I didn't even manage to go into things like, you know, position sizing and things like that. Those are all parts of like risk management, right? So if you really want to know more about the strategy, the 1GT checklist, the framework, and all of those kind of things, right, make sure to actually attend the upcoming webinar by Joey. And I think it's going to be the last one for the year already. And that's where you definitely get to learn more about the 1GT framework and the strategy and see how it can better benefit you and help you in your trading, right? So yeah, I think I'll pass the time back over to Joey, and perhaps you can actually share the page and let them see how the webinar registration page look like.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Thanks for reminding me on it. All right, so yeah, in fact, I saw a couple of questions as well, right? Like regarding question on the trend, right? Is it better to add on an uptrend? Where do we sell? Where do we re-enter? Well, that is actually part of the entire 7-step checklist of the one good trend strategy. Of course, today, as I say, we don't have time to cover that. It probably take like 1 or 2 hours. All right. Even here, so we got another question by TF. You see the bearish signal, then how best to exit? All right. Well, is it because we see on bearish signal, then we just anyhow get out, all right, or just anyhow sell? Not really. I mean, a bearish signal, yeah, I mean, it's a bit of weakness, but we also seek other confirmations to know when to get out as well, all right? And of course, that will be shared in the webinar as well, right? We don't have time to cover everything. So let me go to share my screen. Basically, the link is right in the chat. Click on it, and you'll come to this page right over here, all right? And look at this, right? The date is on the 4th of November, right? Next Tuesday. 2025, all right, 7:30 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. So online over Zoom, all right, over Zoom. So it's the last webinar of the year. We have nothing planned in November, December, January. I don't know, maybe in February or what, I don't know, right? But last one. So make sure you go to click on the link, register for it. That's where I'll share with you guys a bit more on the entire breakdown, the strategy. And not only that, we will also share with you on how we actually sieve out the top 1% of stocks, you know, before kind of like turning on the 1GT Pro indicator and be guided on where to get in and out on that. Does it make sense? Because now we are covering all these stocks that you guys are asking, right? But the question is that, is this stock even in the top 1% or is it in the last 10%? All right, or top 50%? I don't know, right? Where is it, right? So we want to focus on the top 1%. I mean, strong stocks, right? High probability winning stocks. Then we go and get in and out of that, right? Not just anyhow, last 10% every day go down, you're gonna get in for what, right? So we don't do that, right? So how do we filter them out? How do we sieve them out in 5 seconds? Well, that's what will be shared in the webinar as well. So secret number 1, secret number 2, and secret number 3. How do we scan for these stocks, right? So essentially, that's what we shared. Go ahead, click on the link in the chat, all right? And that is pretty much the webinar, right, that we have next Tuesday, right, that I'll be conducting, all right? And one thing to add as well is that, yeah, I mean, as I say, if you're not yet a client of ours, of mine in Philip Securities, well, do check it out. The link is right in the chat as well, especially if you're not getting any service from your own broker, all right? Find out how you can become a client of mine for free to get some of those ideas that we share on our WhatsApp community, exclusive for clients. You do not pay anything more, all right? And that's where you get some personalized support as well from my team by WhatsApp, right? So the link is right in the chat. Just place the link in the chat regarding the how one can become a client of ours in Philip Securities, right? So let me just do a quick recap of the stocks, the bonus stocks that we've checked today, right? I covered the very first bonus stock, and that will be Cisco System, right? Right over here, CSCO, right? Bervin covered GE Aerospace, not too bad, all right? Of course, Z just covered RTX Corporation, all right? So I believe that would be pretty much the end of today's session, all right? Anything to add, Bervin and Z, before we end off today?
I think. Oh, never mind, Bhavin, can go ahead.
Oh no, so it's actually just nothing. So you just want to just remind everybody that we're in the middle of earnings season. So of course, if your holdings are going to get earnings, then you need to be extra alert to them. Just don't just leave them and then pretend nothing is happening. Next day you start to see the price falling, and then you get shocked. Yeah, so don't be surprised if there are big moves in the market. So I think as of right now, I think there is no extra catalyst in the market just yet to actually push prices down. So just be a little bit more cautious unless we have more news coming out of the US shutdown. But otherwise, I think everything should be as per normal, just earnings volatility. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you.
think adding on to Bervin, right? I saw this comment by Styler say that you have received the book already. Awesome, right? But I think maybe for all of you guys here, right, who have actually received the book already, right, perhaps we might need some of you guys help, right, to actually go and read through the book. If let's say we got any errors or mistake, right, please do let us know and feedback to us, right, so that if let's say next time when Joey and the printer decide to reprint a new batch, right, at least we can actually correct and rectify all those mistakes. So that is maybe the help that we will need from you guys. And I hope that you guys really enjoy the book and be able to actually get some value out of that as well.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, thanks for sharing about the book, right? So, Styler, I'm glad that you have received the book, but I'm not too sure whether you have read the book yet. So, going to read it, right? Read it and implement it, all right? Do what we tell you, all right? Look at the 7-step checklist. I'm sure all of you, those who get a book, right? I hope, let us know. Let me know by email, right? If you have any spelling errors. Sometimes we do a lot of checks, but sometimes we'll still miss something, right? So, drop me an email. Let me know. And that's where I think some of my clients already informed me on certain things like page 32 or something, right? But never mind. All right, let us know if you have any other errors. We'll do our best to rectify it. And just for info, right, in case you guys are asking about when to get a book again, right? So just take note that we have sold out. We have sold out. There's no more books left. I mean, maybe about 5 or 6 more, but that's for my own personal collection. All right. But if you want to get our book, all right, for the next print run, well, let me just go and place the link in the chat. All right, the link is right in the chat. Check it out. And that is on this page whereby you can go into wait list yourself. Right, let me just go to play this, show you this page right over here. Right, so this is the page. And you come to this page right over here. There we go. All right, so you can see, right, all copies of One Good Trade Secrets are sold out, right? So join the priority wait list, sold out. The next batch will be coming soon. I'm not too sure when, guys, because we're still negotiating the printer and stuff. But join, on the wait list, be on the wait list, because why did it sell out? Well, because we actually did a live launch about 2 weeks back on the 18th of October. We sold a couple of 100 copies. And we opened up again. It was gone again in like a few, hours. All right. So now it's already gone. So check it out. This is the page. Be on the wait list. The link's right in the chat. And that's where you could get your next copy, all right, hopefully in time, of the next One Good Trend Secrets, all right? And yeah, all right, I intend to start reading today. Awesome, all right, good advice, Victor. Thank you so much. Mitch on the sideline, I'm a affiliate for more than 10 years already. How can I link up to you? Mitch sideline, very good. The link is right in the chat. Mitch, just reach out just fill up the form. My team will reach out to you as well, all right? And that's where you could see the account can be under me, all right? And that's where you could get some service. I don't know, if anybody's doing anything there, but let us know, right? The link is right in the chat. Just place the link in the chat again regarding, the link is right in the chat. Mitch, click on it. You come to this page right over here. Mitch, right? Stop guessing. Get exclusive Singapore stock ideas and expert insights daily from a top-tier stockbroker for free, all right? So if you're still trading alone, as I say, if you got no support from your own broker, it's just a online website. You log in, your platform, all right? It's a mobile app. You log in, nobody send you any idea, video, training, nobody WhatsApp you, nobody call you. Check it out. The link is right in the chat. You come to this page. There's a video that explains a little bit more. All right, click on the button. There we go. All right, enter your name and email. Continue the process. My team will reach out to you once we get your details. All right, Ken. So that's it, guys. That's it. Thank you so much for being a part of today's AMAS US edition. All right, we look forward to see you in the next Friday session, and next Friday we'll be back to the Singapore market. All right. So thank you so much, Jimson as well. Thank you. You got a book as well. Awesome. Right. So take care. Bye. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, everyone. Bye bye. Bye bye. Happy Halloween.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.